Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on November the 29th, 2016. I'm your host, Gaming Psychologist, and with me, as always, my voice tester.
Caffeine Rage.
On today's show, we will of course be discussing the games that we played. We're going to have our longest game club yet, Skyrim. No Man's Sky delivers the Foundations update. We'll have our weekly community corner, and timestamps will be in the show notes following their respective topics. And if you notice, that topics list is incredibly short this week, but we figure we'll have at least an hour and a half of Skyrim. And each of us played...
if we go short, we could always just tack things on to the end.
Well, plus we're going to have a bunch of audio letters to add and all sorts of things. So we're pretty sure that this is going to be a long one this week.
Hey, people like them long.
Oh yeah, they do. Oh yeah, baby.
Can't imagine why though. But,
so
I don't listen to this.
So I'm feeling super professional right now. I bought a mic stand that showed up today. I bought it on Black Friday. It was like normally it's like a $25 or $30 mic stand. Mm-hmm. It's $5 on Amazon. Ah. So I bought that, and I bought some little fuzzy covers to go over the
windscreen.
Sure.
Well, I thought you were being professional, so I thought you'd want the proper name instead of fuzzy cover.
Is that what it's called, a windscreen?
Well, if it's covering the entire microphone, it's a windscreen. If it's just covering part of it and getting between the microphone and you, it's a pop filter.
No, it's a windscreen. It's covering the whole mic. But so anyways, I bought some of them. I bought a pack of like 6 that were $5 on Black Friday.
What are you planning on doing to them? No, I don't want to know.
I'm rough on. I actually broke one trying to put it on, so I knew that would happen. I knew it would break them or lose them, or my kid would pull it off and wreck it, or my dog would eat it.
I could make a comment about. Well, you do have a kid, so I can imagine.
Yeah. So I'm feeling super professional.
Well, no, about having one break when you're trying to put it. Never mind.
Oh, ha ha ha. No, so I'm feeling super professional. I have an actual mic set up. So if I sound different to you, that's because I do sound different. And Rach says I sound better. It's really hard for me to tell because I've listened to myself for months now on my my lapel, and this sounds like very different to my ears.
Yeah, but it's also really going to matter on your post-processing. And also, do you have a monkey hanging off your mic stand? Because if you don't, then I'm still more professional.
A monkey?
Yes, I have a stuffed monkey hanging off my microphone boom.
No, I don't. I
may have to take a picture of it at some point.
You should. I could get one of my kids' stuffed animals and hang it off of the boom. But I got one that's like a clip-on so that I can easily remove it.
Yeah, it clamps onto the desk. Yeah, mine is actually a floor model that's sitting next to the desk and kind of extending over it.
Yeah, I'd like to have one of those, but again, there's a kid, so I have to be able to easily tuck this thing away.
Well, I've kind of tied it to the side of the desk because my desk, the way it's built, doesn't really accommodate the clamp on.
Yeah.
So I've tied it to the tube that runs along the edge of the desk for the legs.
Yeah.
So it is attached to the desk. It's just not attached to the desk in the traditional manner.
Right. I've also got a brand new desk. Those of you who follow me on Twitter, I posted a picture once I got everything put together last night, as of the time of recording. It's a nice big L desk. I have so much room for activities. I'm very excited. I love a good L desk. And I got one. So,
also known as the desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, El Desk.
El Desco. But, so yep, that's what's going on for me this week.
Don't worry, I'll be talking about hardware next week because I have a mouse that's probably sitting in the post office near me right now.
Do you have a P.O. box?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I should get a P.O. box.
I kind of have to have a P.O. box because the U.S. postage doesn't do home delivery where I live because... Yeah, they're backwards.
Nice.
The where I used to live actually had home delivery, and it was a more stretched out community.
Right. Well, I have home delivery, but our postman, we call him Mad Mike, and he's really aggressive. And I'm afraid, like, I'm always afraid if he's the one who's delivering the mail that day, he's going to break stuff. Plus, we live out in the middle of nowhere, and so it takes longer for things to get delivered to us. Usually I'll get a notification that's like, the thing was dropped off at your local post office. And I was like, great. I'll see that in 2 days. Yeah, but if I had a P.O. box, I could just go get it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that mouse will be there tomorrow. If not, then it'll be Thursday because they were. I was ordering it from Newegg, and I did realize they were using Smart Post. So I was giving my physical address, which is my apartment, but then they did Smart Post on me, which means that the post office has to look up, okay, who the hell is this?
Awesome. Well, I look forward to hearing about your new mouse. I definitely don't know what I would do if I had to go back to using a regular mouse, like instead of a gaming mouse.
I've hated it. I'm looking forward to having a couple more buttons to use now.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like 18 more than this, 17 more than this.
Yeah, your mouse is going to have more buttons than mine. I think my mouse has 12 buttons.
My mouse is going to have 12 buttons on the side.
Yeah.
Plus left click, right click, a ring finger click, and 3 on the mouse wheel.
Yeah, that seems really odd, the extra click. But I mean, I've never used one, so it might be okay.
I imagine once I get past all the muscle memory, I'm really going to love it.
Yeah. Honestly, though, the thing that I like the most about my gaming mouse is being able to program custom mouse speeds and things so I can overcome games with stupid mouse acceleration.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to with this. And what that ring finger click is likely going to be for a lot of first-person shooters is going to be a sniper mode.
Yeah. I rarely use my side buttons. I use them in MMOs.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally I use them in FPSs. Because some FPS, especially more modern ones, have additional buttons for additional things.
Well, let's put it this way. This mouse was about the same price of what I was looking at for a non-MMO mouse. It's like, why the hell not?
Yeah. Okie dokie.
Well, shall we talk about things we actually worked with this week?
Yeah, I was going to say, since we've got such a long show ahead of us, let's go ahead and get to it. What games did you play this week, sir?
Well, let's start off with the weakest out of the bunch. Did a doubleheader on the Sunday Sampler, mostly because the game I really wanted to cover had a Monday embargo. It's like, oh, shit. Okay, do I postpone or... Wait, the Sunday Sampler's an episode behind of where it should be. Doubleheader time.
Nice.
And this is actually the game that you may remember a couple of weeks ago. I was talking to the PR director when the show I was starting to record, and you were hearing me typing away. This is the what I got from him: the visual novel of Alice in Wonderland, and it is meh. The thing is, it's not based on Alice in Wonderland. It is Alice in Wonderland, pretty much verbatim. The only difference that I was able to discern, and this is me going, every so often going to Project Gutenberg and getting a copy of Alice in Wonderland, which is in the public domain, which is why they're able to do this, is that they gender flipped a couple of the characters. And, oh, by the way, this is a visual novel, so everyone is either anime or bunny girls or androgynous men.
Yeah, I see that. I'm looking at the images on Steam, and there's sexy bunny girl. I'm assuming this guy is...
in other words, Alice in Wonderland for you. You, Jared.
Yeah, there's sexy bunny girl, sexy mouse girl, and sexy androgynous Mad Hatter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the Mad Hatter on the screens.
I mean, that's what I would assume with the big hat and the eccentric clothes.
Yeah, that would be the Mad Hatter. Yeah, that's the Mad Hatter, the Dormouse, and the March Hare. And if you look at the other screen, you can see the Cheshire Cat, which is an androgynous man and who is pretty much topless.
Wait,
at least I'm assuming male.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I'm not even sure what the market is for, because whenever I think of Alice in Wonderland, I think usually for children. But, then having sexy bunny girls and everything in it kind of, puts me off on that. It's like, okay, this probably isn't for children. What the hell is this for?
It's for me.
Pretty much. Complaints, well, they have no skip feature, no chapter select feature. So, you're going through the entire novel if you don't have a save file somewhere. Which means that if you want to go back and read your favorite passage of Alice in Wonderland for some reason, you're going to go through the entire fucking book. And the book has no instant text. It's actually very slow on putting out the text.
Can you skip through it, like clicking?
You can skip, but it's doubling the number of clicks or tripling the number of clicks because sometimes, they give you a line and then they'll give you an entire paragraph. But the thing is, I skipped some lines because, I was trying to, hurry the text up to actually show up and ended up skipping one of the short lines and I have to go back to the history. And the history is only, as far as I could tell, that page of the book. So you can't even go that far back if you kind of lose the plot because Alice in Wonderland, I know this is going to be hard to believe, but it kind of skips around and, has a lot of nonsense in it. So you may be reading along and it's like, what the hell am I reading? And we go back and reread.
Yeah. Was Alice in Wonderland originally a children's story? I know it became a children's story, but...
That's the thing. I'm not 100% sure, and I couldn't really find a lot because it's one of those things that's kind of gotten so many adaptations and everything that it's layer upon layer upon layer, and I didn't want to, put that much effort into digging down trying to find, if it was a children's story originally.
Right.
I do know that they made the sequel, which was Through the Looking Glass, that was more of a children's story.
I'm Googling it just to see if Google has an easy answer.
I would say the music is nice. It has a lot of classical music, but the thing is, or at least on the review copy I did, they have patched it since I looked at it. The music is fucking loud. And
loud?
It's so loud. Loud, yeah.
Okay.
So loud it actually has audio clipping on some of the parts. I actually drug some of the tracks into Audacity to look for clipping, and there was clipping all over the place on a few of the tracks. To the point that was actually distorting some of the music. It's one of those things that it feels like it was very thrown together. They paid a person on DeviantArt to make some bunny girls based on the March Hare and the White Rabbit and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want Alice in Wonderland, a visual novel, you don't really have a lot of options. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's a story that I think everyone knows already. So it's one of those things that I just don't see the market for.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just me being ignorant to the market.
So according to Wikipedia, which on things
is the definitive source of everything ever.
Well, I mean, on some subjects, absolutely, I trust Wikipedia implicitly or explicitly.
It really depends on the editor that takes a personal interest in that subject.
Yeah, usually small things are pretty accurate, but like big things like classical literature pieces and stuff will have so many people like constantly bombarding them with edits that sometimes they're not always correct. So,
yeah.
But, take this with a grain of salt. But according to Wikipedia, the original author told this story to his girls on a trip. And then after telling the story, his girls loved it so much that he created an actual book based around the story that he told. And that it was designed to be a book for everybody. And it had imagery that kids would love, but stories and metaphors that adults would understand and appreciate.
Such as getting fucking high on mushrooms.
Absolutely. So, if that is true, then it's kind of a book written for everybody, not necessarily adults. And then different adaptations throughout the years.
Then the anime girls may make a little bit more sense, but it's one of those things that if someone wanted to recreate this, they could just go on DeviantArt and pull up the Project Gutenberg while going to Pandora and hitting classical music. And the classical music would be a lot better quality. I mean, that's the thing, is that the art is nice. There's not a lot of it. In the gallery, there's 12 pieces, and I unlocked all the pieces by chapter 6 or 7. And there is more art than that. The gallery is literally the pieces of art that they do not use the character sprites for. So, like falling down the rabbit hole, for example. They use that for the entire sequence of falling down the rabbit hole. That one piece of art.
Yeah.
So the art doesn't change that much throughout long sequences. And because of that, also, the music doesn't change. So some of the more short pieces, it feels like they just went to a open source or a copyright-free source and grabbed a bunch of classical music. Because there are some weird things going on with just the music in general, the file names of it.
Yeah.
They grabbed those, and some of the shorter pieces that has very distinctive sections, you notice these loops very, very strongly, especially whenever a sequence is 10, 15 minutes long, and they haven't really changed the art outside of maybe having the sprites going through different poses.
Yeah. That really sucks because music is important to all games, but
particularly visual novels.
Yeah. Because you don't have movement or...
You have limited movement in a visual novel, and the music is what really sets the mood. And yes, the music is pretty, and they did choose some really nice pieces. They had Chopin, they had Mozart, and I think Schubert was the third major one that they had in the audio track.
Yeah.
But the thing is that that distortion is what got me. Especially, I think it was the Mozart pieces that were most guilty of it. That were just every so often just a loud crash on the piano, and you'd hear the clipping as it tries to record a very loud sound, but the microphone just can't keep up. Yeah,
that sucks. I do enjoy classical music.
Well, I'm listening to some right now.
Yeah, when we start talking about the music, I was like, oh, I never pulled up my music, so I'm going to find some music to listen to tonight while you continue to talk about your games.
Okay, well, I think that's it for Alice in Wonderland. I would say if it goes on sale, maybe check it out if you're a really big fan of the book.
Yeah.
For just some different art for it. But it's not something I would say that is a must check out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I put it on my wish list. I'd probably pick it up for like $1 or $2, based on what you're saying. But if you like the story of Alice in Wonderland, then hey, maybe it's worth $5 to you.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is it also is a very cheap game, or novel, or whatever.
Yeah.
So feeling like it's kind of thrown together. The fact that they have no options and until they patched it in, no way to change the music or any of the sound effects or anything.
Yeah.
Does lead to that feeling. But it is a budget game, so maybe I could give it a little bit more lenience, but I'm also very brutal.
Yeah, I tend to be the forgiving one around here.
Yeah, but that's going to change in about 2 games. So let's move on to a quick stint in Euro Truck Simulator. The one thing I picked up during the autumn sale was the Scandinavia expansion for it.
I should have got that.
And stunned silence.
I was taking a drink. I should have got that.
You didn't think of that, did you?
No, I didn't. I forgot about the expansions for Euro Truck 2. That's okay.
A very, very pretty landscape. But the thing is that, if you don't enjoy Euro Truck Simulator, you're not going to enjoy, the expansions because it's just really more of the same of the game. It's just changing the scenery a bit.
Yeah.
And Euro Truck, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before. It's kind of my veg out game, just listening to podcasts, which I'm something like 3 days behind on my podcasts. As in my playlist is 3 days long.
Oh, you too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also starting listening to the Co-Optional podcast regularly now.
Yeah,
and who the fuck puts out a podcast that's 3 hours long every week?
Yeah, who does that? Seriously. Yeah, no, they've got a long backlog because if you go all the way back to when it was the Game Station podcast, There's something like 210 episodes. And
No,
they're
we have a long backlog. Did I tell you the total runtime that we have so far? I put it on the show notes.
No, you didn't tell me, and I didn't see it on the notes.
Yeah, I was toying around with an add-on for Chrome that tells me playlist lengths.
Yeah.
And I went to my VGL playlist on YouTube, and it is 6 days long.
Go us.
Yeah.
6 days worth of content.
Yeah. What the hell are we doing with our lives?
We're doing this.
Obviously. I mean, at least for 6 days.
We're doing well.
It is longer than my Binding of Isaac playlist.
Oh, you know what?
Times 2.
You know what? If it's 6 days long, I've probably got an additional 3 days in editing time in there.
Yeah.
I spent 9 days of my life dedicated to this podcast.
And this is going to be the final episode of the VGL podcast as we have an existential crisis.
Nah, it's fine. We built a little community that we enjoy hanging out with and talking to and stuff. That's worth it. I mean, VGL is the biggest.
I'm joking.
VGL is the majority of my social interaction. It's not my family.
I'm not sure if I should be happy or sad about that.
I'm happy about that. There's not too many people in my life that get me like our entire community does.
Oh.
So.
But yeah, mostly Eurotruck has been me roaming around Scandinavia. Well, when it gives me jobs there, because it keeps trying to kick me out of Scandinavia.
Right.
Yeah. All the jobs are like, okay, go to England. England doesn't want to be part of the European Union. Why are you sending me there?
Oh. But,
plus that ferry is cutting my profits. I'm trying to rebuild here.
Yeah, the ferry's expensive.
Yeah. So, let's get to the game you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
The dwarves.
Yeah, I watched your YouTube video today that you put up of the dwarves, and I watched like probably 15 minutes of it, and then I stopped because I didn't want to spoil everything. I wanted to hear you.
I absolutely love this game. Is it perfect? No. I found some real problems with it, and there's some game systems that make me scratch my head a little bit, just because it feels contrary to what they're trying to pull. But the combat in this game is fucking awesome. Did you get to the combat sequences?
Yeah, I skipped around a little bit so that I could like see some combat, see some of the overworld, and then the town or whatever towards the end of the video.
Yeah.
Like I saw a little bit of each of those. And the combat looks really good. Looks like
the combat is. I referred to the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah,
because it is usually 3 or 4 of your units versus, I would say, at least 20 orcs or 20 whatevers, because there's different things you fight throughout the story. For the Sunday Sampler, I only went about a third of the way through the game. Granted, the game is only about 15 hours long. That's a little short on the RPG side.
Yeah.
But,
the combat reminded me of some of my favorite combats from the Command & Conquer series, wherever you'd be given like a group of hero units. And it's like, okay, complete the whole mission with these like 5 dudes. That's what it made me feel like. And I like those were some of my favorite parts, because the hero units were always the most fun, the most unique.
What's
cool
really interesting about the combat in this game is that it's physics based. So you could set up your dwarves to do a cleave attack and knock people off a bridge and kill them, and just outright.
Yes, please.
But you also have to be careful because there's friendly fire, and that's on both sides. So in the opening sequence, you're trying to hold this bridge, and the giant ogres they have are just as deadly to their own forces, or to the enemy forces, I should say, as they are to yours, because they'll swing the club and do this huge backswing and knock a few guys off the bridge.
That's awesome, because that's like various scenes from pretty much any fantasy movie you've ever seen, whether they bring out the trolls or whatever, and it's like they always have a scene where the trolls kill a few of their own guys. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they did that perfectly here. There are some problems I had with it. Whenever you're not in combat, your usually going around these. Well, you saw me in the town. In the towns or different areas have various points of interest that you have to. Well, you don't have to click on. There's one that usually starts the story forward, and there's other more lore based ones, and some that may give you a little bit of experience if you have to do a little thing with them. But some of them are very picky where they want you to stand to trigger them. And if you're not standing in the right place, it'll just hang for a moment while, the dwarf you're controlling is trying to get in the proper position to trigger the cutscene or the dialogue or whatever. And I've had that happen a couple times where it didn't quite get in the right place and it just hung there for, about say 5 or 10 seconds. And then it would start playing. And also, pathing can be a little off at times, but then again, this is a very physics-based game, so when I had the pathing go really awry in the Sunday Sampler video, I'd actually wedged an orc in between 2 rocks. So the dwarf I was controlling would run around the rock, hit the orc in the back of the head, run around the rock again, hit the orc in the back of the head again as he turned around.
I saw that part when you jumped up. And you're sometimes this happens, the pathing, makes you get stuck.
I hadn't had it be that bad. That was the worst I've had it. Usually it's just a little bit of, it's trying to go around something and it'll hang for a moment on an edge, like an invisible wall.
Yeah.
And also I had one sequence where one of the guys were standing on something that was destructible, and he kept... as he would hit it, the destructible thing would move slightly and it'd cause him to kind of slide off that surface.
Yeah.
And then when the damage animation would finish playing and that little bit that it was standing on moved back, he would snap back up. So he'd kind of jiggle back and forth on the Z-axis. Nothing too major. I mean, it's a little annoyance, particularly the bad one that I had in the video, but nothing game-breaking for me.
Yeah.
Story-wise, it's pretty much high fantasy. It is a little tough to follow if you're not a fan of the story, which I hadn't read the story or even heard the novel beforehand. So, hearing them talk about cycles, it's like, okay, what the fuck is a cycle? Is that a day, a year, a month?
Or in reference to some other event?
Yeah. So... a little bit tough to follow there. I will say the humor is spot on, but then again, dwarves, if you're writing dwarves super serious without any humor in them whatsoever, in my opinion, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, dwarves are always sarcastic little shits.
Sarcastic little shits that have, a little bit of a sense of humor, even the most serious ones.
Yeah, which is part of what makes dwarves so great.
Yeah. Yeah, let's put it this way. The cutscene that you... meet your first 2 companions, who are named Bonedar and Bonedar. They're a pair of twins with very similar names. You're fighting an orc, and he just smacks away your weapon. And this other dwarf comes in, says, "How could you lose your weapon?" While he's ranting at you, this orc is sneaking up behind him. And the orc raises his weapon, and crunch, another weapon from off screen kills the orc. The first dwarf turns around and says, "Hey, you killed him. That one was mine." So I will say that the little bits of humor are very spot on, but it is a very serious title. And I look forward to seeing just where the story goes. And it's made me really reconsider my schedule for my channel coming up, because I kind of want to do this for the channel.
So you're going to have something that competes with RimWorld. For you, at least.
And for my game of the year, yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
Even though I think RimWorld's still beating out slightly, just because RimWorld's still a lot more of a challenge to me.
Right.
And also RimWorld is, always throws something new at me.
Right.
While this is, a very static experience. It's a very linear experience. The world map is kind of open. This also ties into one other, where I talked about how some game mechanics kind of goes off of what they are trying to do with the game. They have this thing called a provision system where, your dwarves need to eat to be able to heal themselves. And if you take a lot of damage in a battle, you'll take injuries, and it takes time on the world map, which is laid out like a giant board game almost, to heal your injuries. And to do that, you have to have provisions. If you don't have provisions, your injuries will stack up, and you'll go into battle, very injured. Granted, for some battles that doesn't really matter because you could just hang back and let the dwarves heal up, get health regen going.
Yeah.
But with that provision system, it makes it feel like you're rushing to get to the next town to be able to get your food. Granted, it's not something that's going to kill you outright if you run out of provisions, but it is dangerous to do so. So it always felt like I was in a little bit of a rush, even though they were made it seem like, oh, well, you may want to go right here and check this out. And there's different events that could happen, or little mini stories that could happen. Like, I decided to go to a nearby town, and I had this little scene that played out where I spent the day helping them reinforce their gate. And later on that played into a little bit of dialogue, which was kind of neat. If I didn't go that way, that dialogue wouldn't have played.
Right.
So that was a nice little touch. I really enjoyed this game.
Yeah, I posted a comment on a YouTube video
Yeah.
that said that you had sold me on this game already. So I don't know if I'll pay full price for it. I think the game looks worth it, but I have so many games that I need to play right now. I probably will move it a little bit higher up on my priority list of games to buy. And, it'll be on sale for 50% or more probably by the summer sale.
Yeah, it is going to be, I believe it's going to be a $40 game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be 40. It's not on sale yet. It's actually going on sale the 1st, which will be Thursday.
Yeah, so it'll be on sale when the podcast comes out.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I'll say check out the trailer because it gives you a good idea of what to expect.
Yeah, that trailer is awesome. That might be the best trailer from this year and one of the better trailers I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, and you see the scene where, how could you lose your weapon?
Yeah. Oh, and they had awesome music for the trailer too.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't go into the metal route for the actual game, thankfully. Because going high fantasy and then suddenly metal,
yeah,
for the it just wouldn't feel right. I don't think they would. It'd be very tough to pull off.
Brutal Legend is probably the only game I've ever seen pull that off.
Yeah, Brutal Legend. I love the first half of that game.
I prefer the second half.
I loved the first half, disliked the second quarter, and I got fed up and didn't even finish the last quarter.
Right.
The RTS element just wasn't there for Brutal Legend.
Yeah.
At least for me.
I preferred the RTS to the third person action RPG section.
If I could have controlled everything with a mouse and keyboard, I would have probably found the RTS segments bearable.
Yeah, I played that whole game with a controller, so I played plenty of console RTS, so I could do it. I mean, I'm not trying to say that a controller is better for RTS. It absolutely is not. But I have played my fair share of console RTS, so I was alright.
I'm prefer something more elegant, for a more civilized stage.
Oh, a more elegant weapon for a more civilized era. Alright, is that it for dwarves?
Yeah, I think that's it for the dwarves, unless you have anything you want to ask about it, because you did see the video.
No, I don't have anything I want to ask. I mean, you did a good job of explaining it in the video, and you expounded here, so.
Yeah, and they do swap out hero units fairly frequently, so I've went through, the only ones that I've kept were the twins and the main character that you always have to keep.
Yeah.
And I'm not really going into a story that much because it's, for one, I never finished it, so it's, even 4 hours in, it's just starting to open up.
Yeah.
And also, there's a big twist that happens right before the point that I record the video. So, yeah. I don't want to go too much into it because it starts off very slow in the story, but it quickly picks up about, I would say, 2 hours in.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And speaking of story that takes 2 hours to get going.
Yeah, so this is one that we both played this week.
Yeah, this is going to be, this is already on your channel because you decided to be a cheeky little monkey and actually put a video out before me.
Yeah, I did have a whole bunch of rendering on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, same here. On Sunday, I rendered 2 weeks worth of RimWorld, a week worth of Space Marine, and this.
Yeah.
Divinity Original Sin.
Yep. The enhanced edition, not the original.
Yeah, got to make sure you specify that.
Yeah. So this game came out of nowhere at how good it was and how much I liked it. Like, it is an isometric ARPG.
Yeah.
And normally I hate that type of game because of the isometric view, and those games tend to be extremely dialogue heavy without having much voice acting, which is not necessarily a requirement, but it helps in games that are that huge. But between the isometric view and the combat system, which this might be a feature in more modern games, but the classic isometric ARPGs did not have, at least the ones that I've played, did not have pausable combat systems. And I was always really frustrated by the view. So it's like, well, crap, I can't see what's going on. I don't know what I'm doing, which is one of the reasons that, like, I dislike just the isometric view in
Diablo,
general.
I imagine it's your hell.
Yeah, I don't really like Diablo very much. And as we learned from Path of Exile, when we did that for the game club, I just couldn't play it because of that fact. But Divinity has a turn-based combat system, so the isometric view is much less important in terms of,
and you're able to move around the camera to, get a good view of things.
Yeah, and it's got 100% free camera, and you can make it a top-down camera if you so desire. And that can be useful for combat, because if you even, slightly miss the silhouette of the opponent you're trying to attack, you'll run instead of doing an attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, between the combat system and the adjustable camera angle and the quality of the voice acting and just kind of the silliness that exists in the story.
That cat mage.
Yeah. Plus the mechanic where that you can talk, or you talk to your own party and have little discussions which can affect your stats, and you can disagree and argue and that sort of thing. Like, it's just really fun, and it allows for some interesting role playing if you're in single player. And then, when we play together, it's like, oh, I think we should do this. And then I'm like, oh, no, I want to do this because I'm mischievous. And it's really fun. Plus the game is gorgeous. It handles really well.
It has really good writing on it as well. Usually one of the options is at least pretty silly.
Yeah.
Whatever you go into dialogue.
And there's a ton of character customization that you can do right off the bat with actually creating a character class and that sort of thing. And the thing for me that is probably going to cost us a lot of time is the crafting system it seems to be really in depth with.
Yeah, you've just been saying they're cooking random fish.
Yeah. So on the game that we played together, I spent probably 45 minutes off screen crafting things.
Yeah, I hope you haven't gone too far single player.
I haven't. I mean, I'm a little bit farther in the single player game than where we were. Like, I already told you where I was.
You have no idea where we're going to be going.
No, I already told you where I was, and I have not progressed farther than that. But I mean, I started a new game, redid my character creation, and I've spent 5 hours, genuinely about 5 hours in the starting town, looting everything and crafting stuff. I have 300 food items that I've cooked. And I'm just like, ooh, what can I make?
I thought you were supposed to be moving or going there to investigate a murder, not moving there to become the town chef.
Nope, I'm become the master chef. Oh, I did also find the rogue or the ranger person.
Yeah.
And I like her. I haven't found the mage yet, so I don't know if I want the mage in our co-op game or if I want the ranger. But I really like the rangers.
Me?
No, maybe. But I really like the ranger's personality. She's cool. And I mean, I won't say anything to spoil it, but she's a really cool character.
My companion is Medora, the warrior.
Yeah.
Basically Creole with a giant two-handed sword.
Yeah, I originally didn't like her, but once I listened to her dialogue when we were recording...
you just skip through her dialogue. It's like, oh, why would I like her?
Yeah. No, she's pretty cool. She's also the only close combat character that we have in our party, because I'm playing a mage, and you're playing a ranger, which is the equivalent of an archer class in other games.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll have something else that'll be close combat shortly.
Okay.
You're not going to like it, but we'll have something.
Okay. But yeah,
let's just put it this way. I'm going to be summoning something that you'll hate me for.
Okay.
And it may have more than 4 legs.
Oh, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'm usually okay with video game spiders.
Yeah, we'll see about this.
Like, the spiders in Skyrim don't bother me. Well, they don't bother me much. Sometimes they kind of creep me out a little bit, but I get to, like, burn them to death with magic, so that's okay.
Yeah, but the spider's going to be on our side, so you can't burn it well, you could burn it to death, but...
Is the spider a constant, like, summon? Is it a companion?
No, it lasts only a few turns.
Okay.
But it'll be something for more interesting fights. I could summon it off at a distance and keep something tied up.
Right.
If you pardon the pun.
Well, being a mage at the start of the game is definitely incredibly beneficial.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that your character...
you're hitting harder than me, but I'm more consistent damage. So on bigger fights, I'd be better off. And I'm also not using my special arrows, which I'm stockpiling.
Yeah. I am, I was looking at all the different perks and everything. I can't wait to get the glass cannon perk.
Oh, God.
That's basically the build I make in every RPG that I play, is a glass cannon.
In other words, I should stock up on the resurrection scrolls.
That would probably be helpful. But I mean, I'm the only one right now with a heal.
Yeah. Well, no, I do have a heal. It's just not very strong.
Oh, okay. You do have a heal. All right. Regardless, I really, really enjoy this game, and it is not the kind of game that I enjoy. It's probably going to go as my, the topic that you added to the surprise of the year.
You may want to blank that out then if you want to keep that a surprise.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. It's too much work. But yeah, I think that will probably be my surprise of the year, like how much I actually enjoy that game. And I am going to have a single player game that splits off from the multiplayer game and do my own thing. But
yeah, hopefully you do wait a little bit so we could get a little bit further. Then you can just go nuts. Or you're just going to stay in town and craft fish all day.
Yeah, that might be what happens. I don't know. I've got a lot of money too.
You don't have to split it. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got more than both of us combined though.
Well, you also spent 5 hours looting the town.
That's true. I spent a long time.
I just showed you that one room to go to.
Yeah, I did spend a long time looting. There's another room in that building too that the guard captain doesn't let you in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that one's not as easy to get into.
No, but it probably has some good loot too. Neither of us are sneaky characters though, so I'm not sure how that would work.
Well, there is the rogue that we could get for your companion.
Yeah. I don't know, I'll probably check out the mage online before we record next time. To see, or maybe go find him in my single player game and talk to him. Just to see if I like him. But I really do like the rogue character. I like her backstory, and I like the way that she
the ranger.
The ranger.
Yeah, the rogue is a mute.
Yeah, I found him also. I don't really like him very much. I mean, he probably is a fine character, just he doesn't suit my playstyle or my personality. But the ranger, that's who I meant. I really liked her when I found her. She's really sweet. It's just because she's so innocent.
Yeah. Yeah, just don't sneak up on her.
Yeah. So I've done most of the talking at this point. Do you have anything you want to say or add or?
Not really, because you've been so enthusiastic about this game.
It's really good. I mean, I played it 10 hours this past week.
And the interesting thing that we may want to look into for the second one once it comes out of early access, because these games are games that I really don't think you want to play in early access. You may want to get it to support the developers and to get it a little bit cheaper, perhaps.
Yeah.
But the second game in the series has 4-player co-op.
Ooh, that would be fun. Who could we rope in to be our other two?
Well, I know one person that would want to be right away.
Who?
Kyle.
Kyle? Oh God. There's no fuel, and I don't think you can jump in water, so I don't know what he's gonna do. if he can't drown himself or annoy us with petty gifts.
No. The combat system is right up Kyle's alley. He could launch a barrel of poison ooze, and then set it on fire to vaporize it, then set it on fire again to make it explode. Tell me that's not Kyle.
That is definitely Kyle. You're right. That's another thing. We didn't really get into the combo system for this. Yeah.
Where, for example, if you put down a water, you could get a rain spell to make everyone wet.
Yeah.
Wait for Jared to snicker.
Wink.
And also it leaves puddles on the ground, and you could shock the puzzles to shock people that are standing in it.
Yeah,
making characters wet, warm affects their elemental resistances, and also you could freeze the puddles to make it so that characters will fall down.
Yeah, and when they fall down, it might take them several turns to get back up.
But here's the thing: is that if you have nails, you can actually craft them with your boots to make spiked boots.
Oh, that's interesting.
To be able to walk on ice without falling.
That's pretty cool.
So, it's all the little things.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the original Dragon Age combat system where they have the combos.
Yeah.
Only they go a lot more in depth with it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have alternate ways of doing it. You could in the enhanced edition, you could get a Molotov cocktail to throw at someone. Or you could get a jar of oil to throw at someone to light it up later.
Yeah, those are really handy because I went with a fire water mage, which doesn't really synergize all that much, but I mean, I didn't care because that's the kind of character I wanted to play. So I can just get like oil flasks and things and throw them on the ground and to make fire pits.
Well, you're going to love me because one of the spells I'll get, or I can get, is an oil slick.
Yeah, that's in whatever the ground...
Geomancy.
Yeah, geomancy. Which, that's the default...
the magic is split up into air, earth, water...
Fire.
Fire. And also then there's essentially witchcraft, which is a lot of weakening and a lot of sapping of life.
Yeah. And there's one other school of magic, too. It's whatever the clerics...
Telekinesis.
Oh, telekinesis? There's also one...
Water is healing.
Oh, what? Okay. Then
water is healing and some damage. Water is ice and healing, essentially.
Right. Fire is just damage. It's got some negative status effects, but I was looking at the spell table, and it's almost entirely damage. Which is what I like.
Yeah, geomancy is a lot of summons, some status effects and that sort of thing, with some damage on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for Saturday when we record again. Okay. Well, if that's all you've got to say about it, I'll move on to my other two games, which are both short. Right. So the other game the second game for me this week is Superstar. This is a visual novel, anime, management game. You are a talent agent.
Well, damn, I'm at the age gate for it, and damn.
Yeah, you're a talent agent who meets this girl, and she wants to be a superstar, and so you make her a superstar. And the management aspects are like, do you make her a singer, a model, a porn star, like...
Well, I can see where they're leaning towards with all the art.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but it's terrible. I refunded it. It was so bad.
Wow.
The visuals are fine. The management portion of the game is... I don't know. I think they just wanted to cram some gameplay into a visual novel about sexy times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's functionable. It's not bad. But where the game...
if you go to the screenshot section of this, it's tits all over the place.
Yeah, it is. But what makes the game so bad is it has a bad case of the English.
Oh, God.
Really bad. Like, if it was kind of a little bit like tongue-in-cheek joke or whatever, that would be okay. Or if it was just occasional, like, maybe they did an in-house translation and they didn't quite get everything perfectly.
Sort of like how whenever they were swapping the gender of the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. This is actually something I forgot. They missed a couple places where they should have changed he to she.
Yeah. But so anyways, if it was just like, you know, every once in a while they made a mistake or whatever, that's fine. That wouldn't bother me. But it's every single sentence. I don't remember a single sentence that I saw in the first 40 minutes of the game that wasn't wrong. And eventually I was like, I don't care how good all of the rest of the aspects of this game might turn out to be. I can't stand it. I just, like, I was so mad, like...
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the screenshots and damn.
Go ahead.
This one sentence just needs a couple words and it'd be okay, but...
Some of them are awful. Some of them are just nonsense gibberish that doesn't make any sense. So, like, sometimes I'd be like, okay, well, maybe this is supposed to be this word, and then that sentence makes sense. Or it just needs some punctuation here and there to break up the sentences. And then some of it is like, I don't know what you're saying. I have no idea what this is supposed to mean.
Translation?
And then you're trying to, like, make decisions based off of these nonsense sentences. It's terrible, so I refunded it. Which is sad. Because, I mean, obviously this game is up my alley, otherwise.
Really?
The other game I played is Transport Fever, obviously. Transport Fever is my current big podcast game, because I've got to the point where that, like, the music from the game is just background noise, and I don't care to listen to the sounds of the trains and everything anymore. So basically I'm just plucking away at achievements. I got to the year 2000, and I'm working on getting now again to the year 2000 without taking out any loan money. I've got all of the money achievements, some of the city achievements. I'm also currently working on a game that's, the hard mode achievements. Just plucking away at it. It's fun. I'm basically like now kind of at the stage where I can very easily, at least in normal mode and obviously in easy, create a transport network that is self-sustaining. So I'm just like messing with things. Like, okay, can I make like this line that works all crazy? Or like, can I make this line that looks really weird? Or, you know, like trying to push the limits of certain aspects of the game.
Or just let the king run things for a while.
Actually his games are doing pretty well. Since passenger lines work a lot better now, I'll usually, like, if he wants to do something that's really stupid, it's like, well, how about we make this passenger line? It's like right next to it, and he's like, yeah! So, then we do that, and then that line makes money. And I mean, I'm playing with his game on easy, just so that, you know, it's really, really hard to lose money on easy. I mean, if you're first starting, it can be difficult, but, you know, for someone like me who's already played the game for 70 hours and played the previous one for almost 100, it's like, yeah, easy mode, no problem. I can take any map and make money on that. So, but, I mean, I'm still enjoying playing it. Still enjoying playing it with a kid. Fun game. Can't wait to get into mods. The only thing that frustrates me, and I know why they did this, because there's a lot of really cheaty mods, but you can't earn any achievements with mods on.
So they went the civilization route. Yeah.
Because, I mean, a lot of the achievements are based around doing things that are genuinely tough, but it's like, oh, well, I can just get this mod that gives me everything for free, and I don't have to pay maintenance costs. And it's like, well, you basically just broke the game. You can get all of the achievements with that one mod. So, but, yep, I can't wait to get into some mods. I should just start a modded game anyways and play it. I've got like 5 active games right now, and it's like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I just want to relax and listen to a podcast? Or do I want to work on this challenge or achievement? So, it's fun. I love it. Still playing it like crazy. I need to install Divinity on my laptop and see if it'll run on my laptop.
You can't escape Divinity Original Sin. It's become your thing now.
I have to be really careful. I don't want to burn out on it. Because we've got many recording sessions to go. I don't know how long the game is, but at the rate we're playing, it will take us a long time.
Well, shall I tell you how long it is?
Sure. You do that while I pour myself another glass of water out of my carafe.
Main story, 65 hours. I was joking when I said, yeah, we'll be playing this for the next 6 months.
Well, if we actually managed to pound it out in 65 hours, that would be...
Well, main plus extra, according to how long to beat, is 83 hours. A completionist run is 108 hours.
So if we did a completionist run, that's a whole year's worth of recordings if we can match the time that they say that you can do it. And I feel like we're playing really slowly.
And that's the median time.
Yeah. So we've got a while. So I don't want to burn out on it right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of trying to keep you from going absolutely nuts with it.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to go crazy.
And also, I don't want you to ruin things and it's like, oh, well, I remember this from my single player game. And it's more fun to have the blind experience. Yeah. That's why I'm looking forward to getting past the opening area, which is where I've spent all my time.
Yeah, the opening area and the
surrounding shore area.
No, I'm thinking about the plot MacGuffin when you go... I don't want to spoil it. Okay, spoilers for like 15 seconds. When you go to the sky after you find the blood gem, that bit. I've done that bit in my single player game, like by accident. Like I just stumbled into it, but I haven't progressed any farther with it.
Yeah, I've done that before as well, so no big spoilers there for me.
Yeah. Okay, well, that wraps up my games. If you're wrapped up, then...
Yeah, I think it's time to go into the game club, also subtitled, Let's Agree to Disagree.
Yeah. Okay, so the game club game for this month was Skyrim. I have compiled a list of 9 questions to help guide us through our discussion. We've had little snippets of discussion, both off of any recording and also sometimes on the recordings that we do themselves. So if we repeat anything that we've said before... we're just going to go through it all now. So, also, obviously, massive spoilers for, like, everything in the game.
Yep.
And probably some other games, too, because I want to talk about some of the other...
especially the Elder Scrolls series.
Yeah, pretty much anything in the Elder Scrolls series is free game for spoilers. So, you have been warned. Okay, so the first question that I had was, since this game really changed how we're handling Game Club from now on... I thought I would just put a little question at the beginning is what this game did for us in Game Club.
Well, it pointed out a flaw at Game Club, and also it really pointed out that Game Club was taking over way too much of the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, basically we were giving up an hour to an hour and a half for every other episode to Game Club.
Yeah. Which
is fun and all for a little while, but I mean, it really was starting to overwhelm the majority of our episodes, and it was starting to make
particularly when we had interesting stuff.
Yeah. And it was starting to make us feel overwhelmed too. You in particular, but I know I would have gotten there eventually because...
Well, it's also, I think me in particular for this game because I was trying to play as pretty much vanilla, and I still went pretty vanilla with the game overall. But I'm just going to put this out here. Skyrim is by far my least favorite of the Elder Scrolls series.
Yeah, you have not made that a secret. Skyrim is my second favorite. Oblivion is my favorite of the Elder Scrolls series. And there are some things that I think that Skyrim did better than Oblivion, but overall, I prefer Oblivion.
I'm not going to say that Skyrim is, a terrible game. It does have its moments, but yeah, we'll be getting into that.
Yeah, we will be. But really, I mean, Skyrim just opened up a flaw with the way that we do Game Club, and 2, a flaw in ourselves. Like, you were really concerned about having massive burnout because we were playing Skyrim nonstop for 2 weeks to try and get enough hours to really dive into this game, and you were like, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I was about to just go look up things and to be able to talk about this 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. So,
and the thing is, I still had to look up some things because the game fucking it does broken, stupid things.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that because I've played Skyrim. Well, let's just go ahead and transition into the second question because I think that's everything that it did for us. The second question was our experience and brief opinion of the game prior to Game Club. And I've played Skyrim for roughly 500 hours before Game Club. And like I said, it's my second favorite of the series. So, I mean, I've completed pretty much everything in the game. except for maybe some random little side quest or
Yeah,
whatever.
I had
missed.
about 25 hours in Skyrim, and most of that was me bodying it all to hell until it breaks, trying to enjoy it, because honestly, the fan-made content to me is a lot better than what the base game is.
Right. There is some really good fan-made content for Skyrim, and I'm sure we'll talk about that with the mods question a little bit. But I guess really that's a brief opinion. Okay, well, the next question is mod. I mean, we're going through these first ones, but questions 4, 5, 6, 7,
Oh, trust
8,
me.
and
Once
9.
Once we get to question 5, I'm going to be on it for a while.
Yeah. And mods might take us a little bit too. So we're going to put our mods lists in the show notes. Yeah. But, I mean, generally what mods did you use and why?
Most of my mods were either quality of life things like being able to whistle for your horse so it'll come up to you, or summon the horse if it's too far away. Some visual enhancements to make it a little bit prettier, because I was playing the standard edition while you're playing the enhanced edition.
Right.
And the main content mod I was using, technically it's a content mod, is a companion called Veldra, who has more dialogue than every other single fucking companion in this game combined times 10. I'm sorry, but after hearing Lydia say, well, I've never seen this before, after about the 20th time, I just want her to turn around and knock her over the head with a great hammer.
Yeah, I understand that. I used, in that respect, I used a mod. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but it was a mod that was a huge dialogue expansion for all the existing characters in the game. Someone had went in and like basically pieced together dialogue from, characters that had the same voice actor, and made them sound like your companions or other important characters that you talk to. Mm-hmm. And Lydia has like 40 or 50 new lines for pretty much every single situation. So that means
she has about 45 lines total?
Well, no, it's probably closer to 100 lines that Lydia has now. So you do get some repetition for sure, but you don't get every single time, I'm sworn to carry your burdens.
Or I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Those were the two I heard the most. Or even just the shopkeepers. The fact that every single shopkeeper, even if they have different voices, says the exact fucking same line.
Yeah, it adds new lines to them as well. Although it's less than companions. They really focus on the companions for that mod.
Granted, Skyrim is by far better than Oblivion did with their voice actors.
Yeah.
But the fact that the different voice actors are saying the same line doesn't make it feel like they're different voice actors. It makes it feel like they're the same person. And boy, I'm really bridging to question 5 right now.
I know, but I mean, this kind of falls under mod discussion. You can rehash it if you want in question 5. But yeah.
But let's see, quality of life things, and just little visual improvements. Like, since I played an archer, big surprise there. I added a mod that made it so that arrows didn't disappear pretty much immediately. So, whenever I was fighting a dragon, it looked like an archer fighting a dragon. It looked more porcupine than dragon when it finally died.
Like a pincushion.
Yeah.
A lot of the mods that I did were immersion mods. A couple of my favorites, the dialogue one, I would count that as immersion. Another one was a no loading screen mod for cities.
Yeah, open cities.
Open cities, which meant that basically the gates just opened and you can walk inside. There were a few other areas outside of cities that worked in, like certain really, really big dungeons and stuff. But it was mostly just the cities. But that was nice. I like that. That actually caused a few problems whenever you had to load scripted events. The game would freak out and sometimes it would crash.
Which is why I don't use city changing mods like that unless they've been, really vetted, and I wasn't going to spend the time to vet, a mod set for this when honestly I don't really care for Skyrim.
Yeah. Sometimes it would crash, but I mean I played for about 50 or 60 hours. And it crashed.
I played
3
approximately
times.
30.
Yeah.
I had it crash more often, but it was more, my problems with the game were either, well, let's put it this way. At one point I had a mammoth fall out of the sky.
Nice.
And the thing is, I have no idea why it fell out of the sky because I was running pretty much no mods at that point. So that's base game doing that.
Yeah.
At least that was a free mammoth tusk for that one quest.
Yeah.
Let's see. I also had the Dark Brotherhood, just the quest line never starting.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Which honestly, that was the final straw for me. I haven't played Skyrim since, because I spent an evening just trying to get the Dark Brotherhood to start up. And yes, I did Innocence Lost, and I've completed that. I waited a couple days in game. The courier never showed up. They never kidnapped me. It's like, come on, I'm right here. I tried different beds. I tried sleeping in my house, which since I don't have the DLC, it's Windhelm. Or Breezehelm, that one in Whiterun.
I wonder if the courier got killed, like he spawned somewhere and died.
Well, that's the thing is I checked, and even if the courier doesn't get to me, the quest should still fire. So it's not the courier not showing up, killing that. It's the quest just not firing. And the workaround is to go wherever the hell they kidnap you and put in 2 or 3 console commands. But by that point, I'd already tried to get this to work for a couple of hours, and I went off and done some things, which I'll be perfectly honest, I had absolutely no interest in doing any of the other quests I had at this point. So I was done.
Right. Some of the other mods that I used were some quality of life stuff. Like, I got a mod that basically fixed the blacksmithing or the crafting system.
Yeah, I did have a meltdown mod where you could melt down weapons, but I never really used it.
Yeah, that was part of the mod. You could melt down weapons and other equipment to create bars. It gave you experience in the crafting tree for every step. So you got like a tiny bit of experience for if you went and mined things. You got a little bit of experience for using the smelter, and then it also gave you experience for upgrading your weapons and armor, and using the skinning thing, because that didn't always give you experience, and one of them didn't give you experience at all.
Yeah,
and it fixed that, so you got experience for all of those.
Yeah, the crafting is just we'll be getting into some of the stupid decisions design-wise that this game has.
Yeah, plus the mod added like craftable arrows and stuff like that. That it's like, why weren't those in the original game?
Yeah. Why couldn't you craft arrows?
Yeah,
because pretty much the way most people play this game is an archer of some sort.
Yeah. Also, I used the unofficial Skyrim patch.
I did use that as well. I had the unofficial Skyrim patch when it started raining mammoths.
Yeah, the one thing that I didn't really put a place to put this, but we should probably talk about it, is the differences in the remaster from the original. I actually played both a little bit just to get a handle on.
It's mostly just visual, isn't it?
It's mostly visual. They actually did fix a decent amount of bugs that plagued the original game. It also is a 64-bit.
In other words, they just incorporated the unofficial Skyrim bug fix.
Yeah. They also, it's a 64-bit game now instead of 32. So if you're going to use mods, you can use a lot more before the game crashes, at least from overloading memory.
I was about to say, about that.
There was a problem that I didn't really experience. There was an audio
sound issue. The sound issue.
Oh yeah, there was some sort of audio thing that made the quality worse, but I didn't notice it. Even comparing the two.
Well, then you must be deaf.
I might be.
I listened to some of the comparisons.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounded like they encoded them at about 64 hertz.
It was a little bit quieter. That was one thing I did notice. The audio was definitely
it wasn't
quieter.
The quiet. It was just garbled.
See, I never experienced that issue. Because I played it for a little bit without the official Skyrim, or the unofficial Skyrim patch, just to see, but I never experienced the garbled audio.
Maybe you just weren't paying enough attention, because, trust me, once you started paying attention, there was...
Maybe. I do skip a lot of the dialogue, because one, I can read faster than they talk, and two, I've played the game for 500 plus hours, so I know what they're saying.
Well, there you go. You were skipping it then.
I listened to the opening sequence, though, and I didn't notice anything there, so I don't know. I do tend to be lucky, though, when it comes to game-breaking bugs. Like No Man's Sky, like most people were like, this game won't even run for me, and I'm like, it's fine, it's got some frame skips every once in a while. So I just chalked that one up to luck.
And, also No Man's Sky had no content.
We will get there much later. So yeah. One big difference, though, when it comes to mods is that the remaster doesn't have Steam Workshop support. They're using Bethesda's baked-in mod thing that's on the console versions.
No, thank you.
I will say that at least right now, I mean, they could do anything to it. They can make it bad, but right now, it's actually pretty good. I mean, it's already up to several hundred supported mods on the PC version.
After what Bethesda tried to do with mods a couple years ago, I do not trust them with mod support.
Yeah.
And it's actually an insult that they tried to sell user mods when honestly, that's what makes their game actually worth half a damn.
Well, on that second part about worth half a damn, I disagree, but we're almost
that's
there.
why we have the subtitle for this.
We're almost there. But so yeah, the one thing that I think that it does really well is that a good thing over the Steam Workshop is that it checks mod compatibility for you and will warn you whenever you have mods that don't work together or shouldn't work together.
Well, there's third-party mod managers that does that as well.
You can, but there's a lot less people that use the Nexus mod manager. At least that's the only one that I know of. I don't know if Skyrim got its own mod manager. I think it went full Nexus by that point. But anyways, I don't know as many people that use that. That would be an interesting question for the audience. Do you guys use if you do play Skyrim, do you use the Nexus mod manager or the Steam Workshop, or do you just do it yourself? But, so yeah. I think that's about really all there is about mods. I mean, generally, we both used quality of life, and you did some visual stuff, and then I just did some immersive stuff. I'm going to go in, I've got a list of mods that I want to use, but I was waiting until after we were done because we wanted to keep it relatively close to the standard experience because mods, I mean, Skyrim, you can do anything with mods. That's basically what it is. Skyrim is a platform for crazy mods. So, after we're done and I go back and continue to play it, I'm going to add some more mods to the mix that are a little bit more crazy, like revamping the magic system.
Yeah, I came up with an analogy that it feels like Skyrim is a sandwich shop, and the base game is them handing you two slices of bread and maybe a little bit of mustard on it and say, okay, bring your own meat.
Right.
So that's how it feels to me. That's how it feels to me, is that the real meat is the user-made stuff.
Yeah.
And the vanilla stuff is rather tasteless bread with a little bit of mustard on it.
Well, I disagree with you, and we're going to move to question number 4, things that you like. I really, really like Skyrim's story. All of it. There are some parts that are, a little less great, and some things that don't quite make sense, but I'm love it.
I just never got invested in the main story at all. I never touched the Civil War stuff at all.
The Civil War stuff is the best part of the game, in my opinion. So good.
Honestly, it feels like the engine would be holding back the Civil War stuff. I would have much rather seen them do Skyrim in a different engine so that they could have more than 4 or 5 people show up at a major battle. For
the enhanced edition, there's a mod that that really goes in and revamps the Civil War system. And it adds random battles and ramps up the amount of people that are in every battle that you do.
Yeah, there's one for the standard edition as well, but you can't really run anything else because it kind of breaks the game. Yeah.
But I mean, even the base storyline, I think that's the best thing about the game. I just love the political push-pull tension, especially in the beginning when you can kind of hop back and forth before you're forced to choose a side.
Actually, I never chose a side. And I completed the story. I never chose a side.
Yeah, well, in the main story, there's that if you haven't completed the Civil War.
No. You have a option to skip that.
Skip the meeting?
You have a meeting and you're not really forced to choose a side. You can kind of go down the middle.
Oh, yeah, no, you can force a ceasefire or, a temporary truce to deal with the dragons.
Yeah, that's what I did. I never engaged in the Civil War, so I had the peace summit Honestly, I think my main problem with Skyrim story is that I never really felt invested in it. It felt like my character should have gotten the fuck out of there.
Yeah. Skyrim...
And they never really sold me on, okay, why should I give a damn about staying here?
Yeah. I think the big problem... I guess we should just combine things we like and things we dislike, because we're going to wander back and forth between the two. The thing that I think really hurt a lot of people's buy-in was the intro. Because... You
mean 10 minutes of sitting there watching them spout exposition?
Well, not only that, but they don't do anything to endear you to either side. The Imperials still try to kill you. And then the Stormcloaks, like, you don't know anything about them except that their leader, Ulfric, is a traitor based on, what you learned. It's like, well, both of these sides seem like they suck. These guys want to kill me, and this guy is disloyal and a crazy person.
Yeah, and the Stormcloaks tend to call me Milk Drinker for some reason. I'm just sitting there going, meow.
That does make sense for you. I play a high elf because obviously magic bonuses, and they all hate me because they're racist.
Yeah, that's the thing is that both sides just aren't endearing. I realize that it is shades of gray, that there isn't a good side for this conflict. Well, really the dragons or anything, but it's just they never really sold me on any of this.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. It's got a tough time with the buy-in. Basically, you have to invest yourself. And
then, and it's not even the Stormcloaks and the Imperials. It's the fucking Blades as well.
Yeah, the Blades
are a bunch of dicks.
They're really frustrating because that quest line closes down if you refuse to kill Parthenax. You just can't do anything with them anymore. I mean, there are mods that fix that, but in the base game, it's like, well, here's your choice. Either you kill Parthenax, and you can go do the rest of the cool Blade stuff. Because, I mean, you get to rebuild the Blades Order if you follow that quest line. You get to recruit people to be Blades, and then you can go on dragon hunting quests and things like that. But if you don't kill Parthenax, you can't do any of that. They're just like, well, screw you. You must be on their side. It's stupid. Because I don't want to kill Parthenax. I like Parthenax. He's a cool dude.
Well, for a dragon.
Yeah, he's a cool dude for a dragon. I really enjoy Skyrim's combat system.
Oh.
This is one of the areas that I prefer it to Oblivion, particularly the magic. The sword combat system is roughly the same. I mean, the Skyrim combat system looks better because it's newer.
Yes, Skyrim's combat is wave weapon enemy until either you fall or it falls if you're melee combat.
Yeah. But the magic systems are vastly different between Skyrim and Oblivion.
I will admit that being able to dual-wield weapons, or weapons and spells, or a combination of the two, was quite the game changer for the Elder Scrolls series, because before that, it was, you either had a weapon out or you had your magic out. You didn't have both out. You couldn't really be an effective spell sword, for example.
Yeah, it was difficult to be a battle mage, which is kind of my favorite class.
But then they kind of really gimped things. They took out spellcrafting altogether, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I hate. I mean, there are mods that add it back and add huge numbers of spells,
but it never really works all that well. They also simplified magic quite a bit, and they took out a lot of the magic that helped you be sneaky. Yeah. You can't unlock locks with magic anymore like you could in Oblivion and Morrowind.
Yeah. And unless I just haven't found it, there's no chameleon spell either. There's only invisibility, which is fine, but when you move, you lose your invisibility.
Yeah, there's no chameleon whatsoever. And you could, if you had high-end enchanting in Oblivion, you could break the game by getting 100% chameleon.
Yeah, that's how I like to beat the game, is go 100% chameleon for that last fight. Just run through the Oblivion gates. But I do like the enchanting system better in Skyrim. It does lose some of the custom ability.
I wish that it didn't have it where if you do the spell or a spell like it, you would unlock that enchantment as well. Because that seems rather silly that, okay, I could throw a fireball. Why can't I enchant a staff to launch a fireball?
Yeah.
That should be really the same spell, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can do that. You can enchant fire weapons, if you know fire and things. It's all of the armor effects that you have to break down weapons.
Yeah, you have to break down a lot of stuff to be able to get effects, and there's really no other way to do it as far as I know. And even at alchemy, they took out a lot of ways to learn about alchemy. Before in the Elder Scrolls series, as you leveled up alchemy, you would start to unlock the effects. You would know the first effect on all the items if you were so far into alchemy. In this, you have to go in pretty far into the alchemy tree, the skill tree, which the entire UI is just a clusterfuck on PC. Yes, I realize it's all right on consoles, but I'm not playing on a fucking console now, am I?
The UI doesn't bother me at all. Probably. Well, I don't know. I
it doesn't bother you because you're playing with a controller.
No, I'm not playing with a controller. I play with a mouse and keyboard.
I thought you said you were playing with a controller with this.
No, I said I might, but I just kept going with mouse and keyboard, and I found it fine.
It's just briefly getting on. We'll finish with the alchemy, then I'll start ranting on the UI.
Right.
The alchemy, you have to get 40 skill in order to unlock that talent where you are able to taste something and learn the effects. Something that up until this point has been a base fucking feature of alchemy in the previous Elder Scrolls series.
But in comparison to the previous series, you can experiment and learn the effects that way. I don't think you could do that. At least
yes,
not in
you could.
You could in Oblivion?
Yes.
I don't remember being able to do that.
Yeah, you could experiment and learn the effects, or get the potions to be able to say, okay, mixing these two together gave me this effect. So, yeah, we know the effects of those.
Okay.
It's just, alchemy is a step backward. Enchanting is a step sideways, in my opinion, because they do some things that I like, some things I don't. The fact that they have prepper stabs is nice.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that they had them in the previous Elder Scrolls.
They didn't in Oblivion.
We're not counting the Daedric artifacts. Like Wabbajack.
Yeah, they didn't have them in Oblivion. I think Morrowind had stabs, though. Morrowind had a huge plethora of weapons and things.
Yeah, Morrowind had a lot of different weapons that and skill sets that they removed. And they've just been whittling away at the Elder Scrolls series for years.
Yeah. Before we go to the UI, before we get off on that, I do want to say while we're kind of here,
okay,
I love the leveling system in Skyrim. That's probably my favorite change from the older games. It's like, why do I have to level up skills that I don't want to use in order to get points that will help me with the skills that I do want to use?
Yeah, the leveling system up until this point has been a little weird. If you wanted to stay low level, it was very easy to set up your character to do that.
Yeah.
But it required a little bit more knowledge than I think most gamers would have wanted to have going in. I will agree that the leveling system is better. And mechanically, Skyrim is, for the most part, better.
Yeah. It's
just, when content and some design decisions. Speaking of which, the UI.
Yep, go ahead. I'll be quiet for a minute.
The fact that if I'm in the inventory, I can't see what my skills are or access my magic without exiting the UI and then going back in. It's just, it's crazy to me. And the fact that it seemed like they learned nothing from Oblivion because the top mod for Oblivion was a UI mod to make it so that you could see more than 5 items at a time in your inventory. And the fact that also that I can't see what all my skills are level-wise at a glance. In other words, I have to go, unless I just missed this in the stats, because I did look and try to find, it's like a stat overview.
No, you have, unless it's hidden somewhere that I don't know where it is.
You have to go to that constellation thing and look at each individual one.
Yeah.
And all I want is a list. Be able to see, okay, I'm at this archery, this heavy armor, this light armor, this one-handed weapon, instead of just flipping through very, very slowly and trying to make note.
Right.
And let's see, what else pissed me off about the UI? Oh yes, the map.
The map?
The fact that, okay, here's what bothered me about the map. I wanted to turn on all my quest markers, pull the map out, and look to see where the game is pointing me for a lot of my quests. Yeah, to be able to go in a general direction.
Right.
I couldn't pull the map out far enough to be able to see the entire world at once.
Oh yeah, no, you can't pull the map far enough back to see the whole thing.
That's what I wanted. And the fact that the map has, it's looking at it at an angle, and there's this one section of ground that is at the perfect angle, so it has this weird illusion where you'd go to there, and it's like, oh, you gotta climb this cliff. It's like, well, fuck, I should have went around.
Have you ever noticed that the map is a real-time representation of the world? Like, if you zoom in far enough, you can see dragons and sometimes giants and mammoths wandering around.
Yeah, it's basically a camera way over the world with the level of detail turned way down.
Yeah.
Which is neat, but the thing is that all I want to do is be able to pull the camera out further and look straight down.
Yeah.
I mean, is that too much to ask? Obviously so. And also the fact that they don't have the roads on the fucking map without putting a mod on.
I suppose that could be annoying, but I don't use roads. I just run straight towards my objective.
If I'm trying to climb a cliff, trying to find where the fucking road is that goes up that cliff is very helpful.
Fair enough. Okay,
it's just,
what else you got?
So many things about the UI, just little nitpicks. The fact that my favorites is basically everything I ever use. Because that's the only way that you could really swap between weapons and magic very quickly. Otherwise, you have to go in, you have to go through that one menu where you're going through items, magic, skills, or map. Then you go through and go through another transition, and then you slowly go through and go to the sub-menu you want. I just wanted a very quick, pull up my inventory and be able to go, okay, equip this ring and go over and equip my fireball spell or something. Mm-hmm. That's all I wanted.
Right.
It just feels like well, I shouldn't say it feels like. It is designed for a console. It's designed to be read from halfway across the room, and where everything is so huge, and I'm sitting right here at my monitor, it's just wasting so much real estate.
Yeah, I'm assuming you use Sky UI.
Yeah, definitely. That's the reason why I would never touch Enhanced Edition yet, because it doesn't have Sky UI.
Yeah, because Sky UI uses Script Editor, and the remaster doesn't allow you to go in and get the scripts and edit them. So you can't use Sky UI.
It can't. You can't edit the scripts at all. They completely block the script editor.
Yeah, you can't edit the scripts at all, as far as I know.
Oh damn!
There's a ton of mods that just can't work. Then people have had to find ways to do them without editing scripts.
Well, I just lost any interest in the Enhanced Edition. I'm glad I didn't buy the DLC to get the Enhanced Edition.
Well, the DLC... Well, hang on. Let's stay on the UI for a minute. I don't think
if you're coming from the console version, it's probably comforting. But the thing is that I wanted to see more information and see my inventory more as a whole at once.
Yeah.
And the UI, how they have it, just doesn't allow me to do that. It's the same thing, like I said, with the map. I want to see the entire world at once and see, are they sending me to a lot of quests sending me over towards this town, or are they sending me over this town? It's very much a chore to try to figure that out without having a top-down map and be able to look at the whole world just at once.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're crazy or anything. Like, those are absolutely, completely valid things, quibbles, whatever you want to call it, that you have stated. It's impossible for me to say with Skyrim, because I have played it overwhelmingly more on console, because I got Skyrim when I was in college, on my Xbox 360, and I would just sit in the dorm.
Yeah, see, that's why you like
all of my downtime and just play it there. And so, I don't know if it's that, like I'm just used to it, and so I just was like, well, whatever, I'll just interact with this with my mouse and keyboard instead of my controller now, or if I actually don't mind. I mean, the only Bethesda game I've played on PC that I've never played on console was Fallout 4. But it has the Pip-Boy
and the Pip-Boy is a lot better, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it was always better. I always found it better than the UI in the Elder Scrolls games. So I don't know. But all of those things that you're listing, like, I understand how that they could be bothersome. And you pointed some of them out to me before this, and they just don't bother me.
Let's just put it this way. Number one mod on Nexus Mods, Sky UI, with 13.8 million downloads.
Yeah.
I've risked my case.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, what else do you got about things you like and dislike about the game?
Oh, well, let's get to something I like. I do like the lore of the game. I like the world for the most part. They didn't sell me on the story, but I do like just, the general world. Bethesda does lore really well, and they do worlds very well.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we could agree with.
Oh, yeah.
Bethesda does great worlds. Not great characters, usually. But
I tend to like Bethesda characters, but I don't know.
I always found Bethesda characters very forgettable.
Some of them definitely are. Some of them aren't.
The characters I always remember from Bethesda games are the more annoying ones. Like that fucking elf in Morrowind.
Which
that
one?
costs you as soon as you leave the character creation area.
Oh. Yeah.
That asshole. Or the adoring fan in Oblivion.
Yeah, I used to take the adoring fan into Oblivion and then just tell him to wait and leave him in Oblivion.
Well, my favorite thing to do with him was to take him to a tall cliff and then petrify him and just, this is Sparta!
Oh.
But yeah, it's Bethesda characters for me. I always remember the more annoying ones, or the one that really sticks out to me that I don't find annoying is Sheogorath.
Yeah,
but that's more because of the time I spent with him in the Shivering Isles.
Yeah, he's a character. I like Sheogorath.
Yeah, and it's a shame that his appearance in Skyrim is 5 minutes.
Actually, he's got a few appearances in Skyrim.
Well, his main appearance, I should say.
Yeah, that little quest that's associated with him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was also probably in a bad mood for it because, okay, I want to go do the highlight of this. I want to go do Sheogorath's quest. Fuck, you're gonna go make me do something boring before this, huh?
Speaking of the DLC, Shivering Isles from Oblivion, Skyrim's DLC is, I think you would probably like its storytelling more because it's more condensed. I mean, it is Bethesda storytelling, but they're much more condensed stories.
Well, it's not even condensed stories. It's the fact that they just couldn't sell me on why the fuck should I care?
Right. Well,
or why should I even care about these factions?
Except for Hearthfire. I don't know if you'd like Hearthfire. Building your house.
Well, I actually did like having a mod that I was building a house in them before the Game Club game. But it's just, that was what I was spending more of my time on. It's like, I could do this in better games.
Yeah. The Dawnguard DLC, I think, was better than the Dragonborn DLC. The Dragonborn DLC was more like the Shivering Isles expansion from Oblivion. It let you go back to Morrowind and do some stuff in Morrowind, which was pretty cool. But I really like
from what I understand, Morrowind is not exactly the place that we left it.
No, because lore-wise, there was a volcanic eruption that destroyed a huge chunk of Morrowind.
It wasn't just the volcanic eruption. It was, VC. Remember in that town that hovering meteor thing?
Yeah.
The god after you killed Dragorath or whatever his name was, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I don't remember.
In the main
either.
quest, VC disappears, and VC's power was holding that in place. So that meteor comes crashing down with all the wrath of an angry god, essentially.
Right.
And causes Red Mountain to erupt. And nice job breaking it, hero.
Yeah.
That's the definition of a no-win situation.
Yeah. But I do think Dawnguard was the better DLC. It added crossbows, which were awesome, and added the Vampire Lord which you could join the vampires, and it added a really neat sidekick, who I'm drawing a blank on her name right now, because my mind is like in 8 different places, but...
Yeah, obviously she wasn't that neat.
She replaced Lydia for me as soon as I got her. Like, I use Lydia. I like Lydia. Hundreds of hours with Lydia by my side. But
I've never heard that before.
The DLC is really good. I mean, I can totally understand if you don't want to get it, or if you're not interested enough in the main game to...
I wasn't interested enough in the main game to get it, and I was tempted whenever they started talking about, well, if you have all the DLC, you'll get the Enhanced Edition for free.
Right.
But then seeing what they pulled with the, completely disabling the script extender, assuming that they can't find a way around that, because where there's a hacker, there's always a way.
Yeah.
And the fact that they took out the Steam Workshop support and instead are going with their own closed garden, and honestly, Bethesda is falling very, very far down my devs I trust list. So, yeah, them having their own little walled garden. Yes, I realize that you could do manual mods, but yeah, it's just, I don't trust them on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad I didn't pick up the DLC.
So are there other things you like or dislike before we move on to the best and the worst?
Oh, well, let's see. Something else I dislike. Well, both like and dislike. How about that one for contrary?
Okay, hit me.
The conversation system.
Okay.
I like that, the NPCs are still moving around, that it's, somewhat realistic. The blacksmith you're talking to isn't going to stop his work while you're talking to him. I like that. I dislike how it bugs out at times, so... the NPC may not, stop immediately, so they'll continue walking a few steps, go around a pillar, and they're talking to you through a pillar, and your camera is just, giving a really good shot of the rather meh wood texture. Or what really pisses me off about the conversation system is that they don't disable where NPCs will still try to talk to you, so you may be having an important conversation about the story, with the y'all, and his little pissed-hat son will start talking about sweet rolls.
Yeah, I wish I could kill that kid.
Yeah,
the killing children mods exist. I just haven't used one.
Yeah, kids, shut the fuck up before I download a mod.
The conversation interruptions can be frustrating.
Especially with how they handle the subtitles as well, because I thought, okay, well, I'll just do subtitles. No, the subtitles for other NPCs overwrite if you have full subtitles. And if you don't have full subtitles turned on, sometimes you don't get subtitles at all.
That doesn't happen with the remaster. Whoever you're talking to is the primary subtitle. Even if someone comes up and starts talking, whoever you're specifically interacting with, they
also
get
I'd
the
have
subtitles.
Less urge to kill those fucking kids. Boy, there's something that goes wrong out of context.
I really like the conversation system a lot more. I never liked the weird little conversation wheel mini game in Oblivion.
Yeah, the conversation wheel was meh. And, it was serviceable. I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to get rid of, basically, if you had enough money, being able to buy your way into everyone's good favor like they had in Morrowind.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the conversation in Skyrim, at least in the base game, it just didn't work for me. Just because, there was just so many instances where they were trying to sell me on the story, but they were just breaking, everything with, this little pissat kid,
Yeah. Excuse me. I really dislike the merchants.
All saying the exact same thing.
No, I don't care about that. It's how little gold that they all have. Like, there were definitely merchants in Oblivion and Morrowind that didn't have very much gold. But in Skyrim, nobody has. At least very few people have more than 600 or 700 gold by default.
Well, they want to encourage you to level up, go down the speechcraft tree, and pick up those skills. That's the thing, is that a lot of Skyrim feels like it's built around grinding out certain skills and picking up certain attributes within those skill trees.
Yeah, as soon
like
as
the sneak tree, for example. As soon as I got 2 points into that, nobody was paying attention to me as I was stomping around in heavy armor. Stomping, sneaking. I was crouching down.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that the way a lot of the dungeons are designed, there's overlooks. So, those lookouts couldn't see me as I was walking across a very well lit bridge because I was crouched down in heavy armor. Bullshit.
Yeah. It's one of the first mods I'm going to install when I go back and play it again is the mod that adds like 1,000 gold or 1,500 gold to every single merchant.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, in the early game it's fine, but in the late game
but
it's
as soon as you start killing dragons and, I realize the dragon, items are meant for smithing, but I don't give a damn about smithing. So, they're, money for me. And, I would, get all the gold from like 3 or 4 merchants.
I've had, dragon armor, a full set of dragon armor for both me and Lydia for like 25 hours now.
Well, see, I just didn't care.
I do crafting. I'm a crazy person for crafting.
It's almost like you go dig or something.
I have to mine out every single mine on the map. All of them, 100%.
I bet you immediately went and got the non-stacks.
Yep. I did that. Yeah, the merchants really frustrate me. I love the kill animations, though.
I could take or leave the little kill cutscenes. Sometimes they're nice. Other times I'm in the middle of combat, and then it does the cutscene. It's like, okay, I want to pay attention where everybody's going. I don't want about a 5 or 10 second little cutscene.
Yeah, they are the best if you're doing melee combat, because unless you use a mod that changes them and adds like some different ones and some flourishes and stuff, if you shoot someone if you're an archer and you hit someone and you get a kill cam shot, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna watch my arrow slowly hit that guy right between the eyes, and like that's neat once or twice. And it's like, okay, and then magic is even worse because you just follow a fireball or something till it explodes and kills someone. But I do like them. They're neat. They're nice little combat breaks, in my opinion.
They are. Since you were talking about how you need to add flourishes or things, it feels like that's kind of the thing with Skyrim as a whole for me. Is that yes, there are a lot of neat little things, but it feels like they never spent enough time to polish them or to give me a reason to care about them. Since I was an archer, yes, it was kind of neat occasionally seeing, my arrow going, and hitting somebody upside the head and, coming out the other side. But it would have been a lot, cooler to see them, grab the arrow and stumble instead of just, immediately going ragdoll.
Right.
It feels like they just spread themselves way too thin and they never really polished anything to what it should have been or what it could have been.
Right. One of the mods that I did use was a finishing move enhancer. And like with arrows, for example, if you get a kill shot, the camera will go in behind the arrow and you can see it spin. Mm-hmm. And, as it pierces someone, instead of them immediately going ragdoll, like they don't stumble, but they just kind of stand there for a second like, what just happened to me? And then they kill over.
Well, since we're going to be speaking about that, the fact that I could kill someone and go, and hide and have their companion go, well, I guess it's just the wind. Yeah, because the wind has a fucking arrow.
Well, I understand that's just something that video games, pretty much across all of games that have stealth portions, suffer from. I mean, there's a few that don't. I'm not saying that they all do.
The thing is that in more stealth-based games, they see a corpse, they'll start hunting for you actively. Instead, it's more they kind of look around, it's like shrug their shoulders and go wander off.
Yeah.
And assuming that they wander off in the right direction, because I had several times where the NPCs would just completely break their nav map, and they'll either just start, they'll slide a few feet over, or they'll just run off in a random direction.
See, I never...
And it seems like it's a lot worse if you're using Eagle Eye, where you're able to zoom in and see them from a far distance.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a processing thing or, a priority thing. The NPCs that are closer to you get a higher priority on the processes. Right. But NPCs that are pretty far away, they'll not be as important, so they'll be further down and then weird shit happens.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. I don't have the programming knowledge to know if that's the case. But I just noticed it a lot more when I was shooting at range. That, okay, I'm going to shoot at this guy as he's sitting down, and suddenly he teleports to the other chair. Or this guy's walking straight ahead towards me. Great, that's an easy shot. As I shoot, he teleports about, I would say about 3 feet to his left. Or I'll shoot someone, and, they get alerted that I'm there because, they have a fucking arrow sticking out of their chest. And they start running into the wall. Start running in place. It's like, well, there's an easy target.
I've never seen any of those things. I don't remember that from old Oblivion.
But I also fight from a lot further distance than you, most likely.
That's true. Even when I'm using archery stuff just to get some XP for leveling, I'm still within, 10, 15 yards. Occasionally in a dungeon.
And I'm firing from, 30 to 40 yards out.
Yeah, occasionally in a dungeon I'll do some stealthy archery just, for the experience points. But even then, it's 20 yards max.
Yeah, see, I'm something like twice the distance of you, if not more.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any points into archery. It's just to gain experience.
Oh, I had most of my points actually into archery. Archery and, I actually ended up putting more into sneak to get the sneak attack up.
Yeah. Yeah, my points are pretty much heavy into destruction magic and two-handed.
Let's see, my points were into archery, some in one-handed, particularly bases because, bunk on the head.
Right.
And heavy armor.
Yeah.
Which I still find it hilarious that, I'm able to wear heavy armor and still be stealthy just because I put a couple points into stealth.
Yeah. I've got a couple of points smattered around here and there, and I've got the entire smithing tree filled up.
Of course you do.
But, that's kind of where most of my points are, two-handed and destruction. Which kind of defeats the point of being able to dual wield magic and a weapon at the same time.
Yeah,
but
really.
It's I'm hard magic, magic. Okay, I'm out of mana, and instead of using potions or whatever, I'll pull out a battle axe. It's charge! And then when I get some magic back, I'll swap back. Magic. But
well, that's one way to do it, I guess.
Absolutely.
I wish that magic was a little bit more diverse, though. And this gets back to us talking about the magic system just being simplified in general.
Yeah.
It just feels like they removed way too much spell-wise and just didn't seem that nearly as interesting.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of stuff that I miss that's gone, like touch spells.
I completely forgot about touch spells.
The touch spells are perfect for a battle mage because you can be up close and use magic at the same time. But the closest thing that we have to the touch spells are the lowest level magic spells, which just shoot lightning, a flamethrower, and cold air, frost. And they're so weak. Even with fully leveled destruction magic, they're incredibly weak. So that sucks.
Also, the fact that you can't block with two-handed weapons or dual wield.
You can,
or it was dual wield that you can't block with. Sorry.
Yeah, you can't block with. You can block with two-handed though. Yeah, because the block button becomes attack with your secondary weapon or attack with your left hand.
Yeah, which I understand why they were trying to do that with game mechanic wise, but then gameplay wise, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Shall I go on one last rant before we go to the next question?
Sure, but I was going to ask you another question.
Okay.
Also,
go ahead,
in this thing, what is your favorite guild?
Oh, that's a tough one for me actually because I kind of like the companions, but at the same time, the whole werewolf thing.
Yeah.
I didn't like being forced into that, and yes, I realize at the end of the companion's quest, you are cured of that, or have the option to be cured of it. I don't do enough magic to do the mage guild. My character wasn't really ever sneaky enough to do the thieves guild. The the Dark Brotherhood just never fucking showed up. And the
Yeah.
Bard's College is a fucking joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once again, that feels like something that they should have spent more time on to flesh out.
Yeah, I have a negative that I want to bring up in relation to that, but I'll say what the one that I like the most was.
It's pretty much by fault to me, the companions, but that's even, it's not even I'm really sold on them. It's more, the less crappy one to me.
Right.
Or crap. Just because I think what I would like most is the Dark Brotherhood, but I was never able to get those quests to actually fire for whatever reason.
Yeah. The Dark Brotherhood in Skyrim is really good. There are some good character moments in
The Dark Brotherhood was
questline.
pretty much the highlight of Oblivion. That's why I wanted to go do them, but they just never showed up. I guess I was just too fucking brutal for them, or I was too stealthy.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the shadows shooting arrows, and they're like, where the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. I like all of them except for the Bard's College to a greater or lesser degree. But my favorite by far is the Thieves Guild in Skyrim because it's the only guild that gives you things to do that aren't just go kill this person or go clear this dungeon.
Yeah, that seemed like pretty much everything that was. Granted, the Dark Brotherhood, that kind of makes sense, but still.
Yeah, I mean, that's thematic for the Dark Brotherhood, and I'll even give that thematically to the companions as well. But for the Mages Guild, I mean, some of my favorite quests from Oblivion with the Mages Guild, where it's like, where you have to basically go solve puzzles with magic. And sure, there would be fighting and stuff, but the point wasn't to go clear a dungeon. Go open this thing with magic, or go figure out how to defend from this thing with magic.
I just remembered, do you remember in Oblivion, the Mage Guild quest involving the well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, where you have to go retrieve the ring from the well.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be a
500 weight or something.
Yeah, and it's like, unless you do it really late in the game where you can carry a lot of weight, you're gonna drown if you don't drop it.
Yeah, and you have to either have a lot of weight carry spells, feather spells, or they're actively trying to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think there was a corpse down there as well.
Yeah, there was already a dead body in there.
Don't drink the water.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That quest wasn't about killing anybody. It was,
Well, except for that guy killing that one apprentice.
Well, yeah, but you weren't tasked with going and clearing a dungeon or anything. It just so happened that there was, a part of that quest that the leader of that sect of the Mage Guild had sent that guy down there and he died.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Every single quest not every, but almost every quest in Skyrim is go kill this dude or go clear this dungeon by killing all the dudes. And the Thieves Guild is the only guild that offers quests that aren't that. There's this whole big quest line where that you go and alter books for different merchants and things.
I noticed all the books around. I figured that was a quest that I just didn't have unlocked.
Yeah, it's it's so you can extort money from them or skim a little off the top, or you're doing them a favor by changing their books. And obviously there's quests that involve killing stuff or stealing things specifically. And then it also has the really cool quest line for the god or the goddess, I can't remember, where you get the really badass looking armor. I mean, it's not great armor compared to a lot of the stuff that I could make. And it's light armor, so it wouldn't really benefit me very much, but it looks awesome. And you get the awesome bow, and you get the unbreakable lockpick.
For a short time, I did read up on the Thieves Guild. You actually end up giving that back.
Well, you can keep it for as long as you want, though, and just not complete the quest. Although, honestly, the lockpicking system is pretty easy.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get just so many lockpicks that you could brute force a lock.
Yeah. But still, when it comes to those. But then,
and also, every time you break a lockpick, you also get a little bit of experience as well, so you're leveling up like that as well.
Yeah. But that's the main reason that I hate the Bard's College so much. It's this is not supposed to be okay, if you want to have a couple of missions where the artifact retrieval missions, if there's just a couple of those, fine. But that's the entire guild. You don't actually get to play an instrument.
They should have had it where you had to do, a tour, go to different ends and entertain people.
That would be really cool. And that would thematically make sense with that. But instead, you don't do that. You just go to dungeons to kill things and pick up the special one special instrument of each type of the instruments you can find in the game: the flute, the drums, the lute, and is there another one, or are there just 3?
There's just 3.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
that tells you how crappy the Bard's College is.
Yeah. The Bard's College really felt like an afterthought. And the opening was okay. Like, they send you to do that as, like, a test. And then, you know, they, like, throw a little party. And it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be cool. Like,
I never even bothered hunting it down because, I realized the Bard's College, was, like, 3 or 4 quests.
Yeah. They throw you a party and they do some stuff and kind of, I don't know, induct you into the Bard's College or whatever. And then they're like...
There was some hazing.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, go kill some more stuff and find this artifact. And it's like, wait, I want to learn how to play an instrument and sing for people. But you can't do that. Okay, now you said that you had one more thing that you wanted to say before
there's one more thing that really stands out to me. Well, actually 2 more, but one more really pissed me off. Horses.
Yeah, horses kind of suck.
Why the fuck can I not talk to someone while I'm on a horse? Can you explain that to me?
You're too tall for them.
NPCs could talk to me while they're on a horseback. I can't talk to an NPC while I'm on horseback. Yeah. I can't grab things while I'm on horseback.
Horse combat also is not very good.
Yeah.
And horse running is only marginally faster than you running. And you can just fast travel. So, unless you're,
unless you're trying to, get to somewhere that's in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. And you don't want to, slow down every so often to let your stamina bar recharge. Yeah. The horses are just useless. And the fact that it seems like everyone tries to kill your horse first.
Yeah. Well, horses are not useless. Shadowmare's pretty good in combat, and she's invincible. So she only gets knocked down.
But one problem. That requires the Dark Brotherhood to show the fuck up.
That's fair. Fair point for you. And also, horses are like mountain goats. They can climb anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and without them, there's a ton of semi-invisible walls.
Yeah. In the Dragonborn DLC, though, you get the ability to ride a dragon, which kind of...
Yeah, like that one quest towards the end of the main storyline.
Yeah, except you can actually fly the dragon, so...
Yeah.
That kind of defeats the purpose of the horse is only positive without mods.
Yeah, really. It's just one of those things that... Why is this like this?
Yeah.
Once again, it feels like, they put in the horses and then they forgot, people may want to be able to interact with the world. Maybe they want to talk to someone that they come across on the road.
Yeah. And horses...
Because the horses are faster, because they can sprint a lot further.
Yeah. Horses were way faster in Oblivion, though. Even the slowest horse in Oblivion was much faster than you. Unless you had, like a maxed out athletic skill and were wearing,
which doesn't exist in Skyrim.
Right. So unless you had a maxed athletic skill and basically were naked so that you weren't encumbered by your armor, all horses were faster than you could ever be.
Yeah, but the thing is that horses were not faster than you in Morrowind if you had the boots of blinding speed.
That is very true. Very true.
That's an artifact that I wish they would bring back, but the problem is that it would require them to actually have either spellcrafting back or an item to counteract the negative effect.
Yeah.
The boots of blinding speed, by the way, was a pair of boots in Morrowind, which actually you couldn't use as a beast race because in Morrowind, beast races, Khajiit and... Oh shit, now I'm blanking on the name of the lizard people.
Argonian.
Thank you. Couldn't wear boots. So
yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, and they changed that with Oblivion.
Yeah. Which I never understood why Khajiit couldn't wear boots. I totally got Argonians. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how Argonians can wear pants. Actually, I guess you just got a hole for the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind.
They all have some tailoring skill, to be able to alter their clothes on the fly.
Yeah.
And they have a small forge to be able to punch a hole in armor.
Yeah. Okay.
But, it's interesting things like that, be able to get an artifact like that actively hurts you unless you know how to counteract it. Because I can't think of anything in Skyrim like that unless you count Wabbajack.
Yeah, Wabbajack is interesting and can be used to break the game. Because whenever you use Wabbajacks, for example, on an essential NPC, it turns them into, very briefly, a sheep or a chicken or whatever, which is killable. And then you can lose NPCs.
See, I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know what I'm going to do to that fucking kid.
I don't know if it works on kids.
The Wabbajack! I bet you didn't see that coming, huh? Huh?
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready to go talk about the best and worst, or?
Well, and I would say that dragon fights, it felt like they were more just giant NPCs that had a lot of health. They didn't really feel all that special to me after, like the fifth one.
Yeah, you kind of get in a rhythm for how to kill dragons.
I wish that the dragons were more varied. And I only ran into one subspecies. I'm not sure if there's more. The only difference was, oh look, it has like 5 times the health.
There's, I think in the base game, like 9 or 10 different kinds of dragons.
And I'm not counting, them using just different elements. I'm talking about using different tactics. Like have one that stays on the ground more and tries to get in your face and bite your head off.
That would be the skeletal dragon.
Okay.
The skeletal dragon can't fly.
I never encountered a skeletal dragon.
Yeah, they're a high-level dragon that you encounter in dungeons where dragons can be encounterable. I think they start showing up around level 30 or 35. They're really tough.
Okay, so I just simply didn't level enough. I was around level 20, 22 when I was done.
Elder dragons also, there's one type of dragon that never lands until you do enough damage to it that it falls to the ground. I think it's the Elder Dragon. They just refuse to land. So you have to either shout them, because a Fusroda can knock a dragon out of the sky if they're close enough to something, because they kind of collide with it when they stagger, and then that knocks them down. Or you have to do enough damage so that they can't fly anymore. And then they do that little thing where they crash to the ground and plow through trees.
Okay, so they do have this. It's just, it's a very, very late game thing, and probably shouldn't be nearly that late game.
Yeah. There's also a few special dragons, although I don't include those in like the different types.
Yeah.
But there are some named dragons in the game that use special tactics.
Yeah, I wasn't counting them. I ran into a couple of those, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. The spectral dragons are pretty badass too, because they'll come inside structures with you because they can just phase through them. That's terrible. And
also, while we're on dragons, why does everybody feel the need to go fight a dragon? Run, you fools!
Yeah, I mean, until they get the guards fighting them and a few NPCs.
Yeah, I understand that, but the bum? Why's the bum fighting?
Yeah, the bum and the old lady, like going in there with their fists, fists akimbo, like, I can do this. It's like, no, old lady, move.
Well, that cat was able to kill one, which, speaking of the first real dragon fight that you have, okay, and this is kind of the disconnect I have with the game overall. And yes, I realize this is more game mechanics and how the game is built. Okay, first of all, it doesn't feel like I really had anything to do with that first dragon kill because there was half a dozen guards there as well.
Yeah, you have to be pretty damn good with magic or a bow and arrow to kill that first dragon all by yourself.
Yeah, yes, I realized that I sucked up its soul, and it happened to taste like peppermint, by the way. But it's like, it's amazing you killed the dragon. What about the other guys? I mean, it's not like I was alone here.
Yeah.
And then immediately after this, this is kind of my disconnect with how it feels like they need to have more dialogue and just in general.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, I killed the dragon. I have a bunch of loot on me. I need somewhere to stash this. I know. I'll go join the companions. They're nearby. And, I could stash my stuff in a cabinet there for the time being until I can get a house.
Right.
Because I don't have really anywhere else to go. I'm sure if I really wanted to look up to, safe places to stash loot, I could have found that online. But, this felt good because I wanted to join the companions anyway. They're talking about, well, why should we let you in? We don't know who the hell you are.
It's like, bitch, I just killed the dragon outside.
Everybody 5 minutes ago was praising me for killing that fucking dragon, and now you don't. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a problem though. Also, that Oblivion suffered from. If I remember correctly, Morrowind properly acknowledged when you had become something.
Well, here's the difference: is that Morrowind was mostly text based,
right?
So they could do a lot more with text. You could have paragraphs upon paragraphs of text, and people will read it,
right?
But if you have paragraphs upon paragraphs of dialogue, you have the opening sequence of Skyrim where you're sitting there for 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
And also, Morrowind, you're able to have keywords where you're able to branch off a lot more naturally than you can in Skyrim and even Oblivion, where, you have a couple choices. Or Morrowind, you could have, 10 different branches in like 3 or 4 paragraphs.
Yeah, you could spend an hour in the opening area of Morrowind just talking to the guards, and then I can't remember his name, but the guy who finally releases you. You just talk to him. There's so much dialogue you can get. Okay. Well, do you feel sufficiently ready to move on? Because I'm looking at our recording time, and yes, it's going to be a long show, but it is.
Hey, people wanted to hear about No Man's Sky, so yeah, we're not cutting down this week.
Yeah. Well, then let's move on to the best part of the game and the worst part of the game. We've been going for a long time, so let's try and keep this to one each.
Well, I kind of already said what my best is, the world.
Okay, so the kind of the lore world of the whole thing of Skyrim.
Yeah, but that's also kind of cheating because the lore has been built up over the course of, well, not just 5 games, but also some of the side games as well.
Right.
So, all the books from Skyrim, a good chunk of them are from Oblivion, which a good chunk of those were from Morrowind and so on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cheating. But yeah, just the world in general. Granted, it doesn't feel like they really do much with it. Granted, the Civil War does change leadership, but that's about it from everything I could tell.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting that, the Civil War, it had a chance to burn a town down. During the fighting, someone knocked over a torch and a couple buildings burnt down. That would have been interesting to me. Yeah,
because there's no permanent damage. Even the stuff that gets destroyed when you're doing the city battles in the Civil War, it's like as soon as you finish that instance, it goes back to normal.
Yeah, which is just disappointing.
Yeah. Okay, well, the best part for me, and this is, I think, a little more difficult for me because I like the game a lot more. Honestly, the story of the game, there's a lot of stuff in the game. There's a lot of, disparate quest lines and things that you can find. And yeah, some of it's based on lore stuff from the previous games, but I mean, I really did buy into the whole Civil War. And the first time I played, I was like, oh, do I want to pick the Imperials or side with the Stormcloaks? And I sat down and I thought about it and I was like, okay, well, the Stormcloaks represent this and this and this, and the Imperials represent this and this.
Honestly, to me, it felt like voting in the U.S. election. Because, okay, which side do I hate the least?
Fair enough. There is an interesting comparison to be drawn, though, there. The status quo versus the rough...
Freedom!
Yeah. So... but I really bought into all that stuff. I really liked it. The only part of the story that I did not like at any point, I just thought it was dumb, was what I already said, the blades. I thought it was stupid that you had to kill Parthenax or that storyline ended. But otherwise, yeah, really. I'm big on it. I loved going to Sovngarde and joining up with the previous Dragonborns and fighting Alduin. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that changes based on what you did during the game. For example, if you sided with the Imperials, and you killed Ulfric, he's in Sovngarde. And then obviously if you didn't, he's not. So there's lots of stuff like that throughout the game. Just little things.
Well, I bet he'd be pissed to see me then.
So the story is definitely the best.
Sorry. I'm just trying to imagine Ulfric, sitting there having his sweet roll. What is it with Bethesda and sweet roll?
He's actually, I don't know. That's just a thing that they have. But no, he's actually like really lost and confused, because of that.
What the fuck am I doing here?
Well,
I was kind of a dick.
It's not even that. It's like, it plays into like Alduin and how he's like distorting the worlds. And because Ulfric got there and didn't finish the journey to the mead hall of Sovngarde, he's like really confused and lost, and his power is being used by Alduin since he has the ability to use shouts.
Ah.
It's neat. I mean, there's, lots of stuff in there. Lots of stuff. So, I love the story. That's definitely the best part for me. Alright, what about your worst part?
Well, let's see.
Can I guess? Is it UI?
Well, I'm not even going to go with UI. It's more, I kind of already said it. At least one of the worst parts. The fact that they really don't do anything with the world, that everything is so shallow.
Yeah.
But I could really go into the questing for the most part, even the most interesting quests, the drinking quest, has you go all over the place and kill things.
Right.
The Sheogorath quest, that's the one quest I could think of where you're not technically killing things, you're more helping this deceased crazy emperor.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you still are killing things, but you're doing it in a different way. That's probably about the best quest I could think of. And that's a 5-minute quest at best.
Right.
Everything else is, like you said, really is just go there, kill something, come back.
Yeah.
Outside of the Thieves Guild.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my worst.
Oh, that's down there for me. But honestly, the worst part of the game for me is the stripped out magic system. As a primary primary magical user, the huge amount of spells that were lost and spellcrafting not being a thing without mods and things like that. And the magic in general not being very powerful at higher levels without mods to tweak it and make it more powerful. Or, just rebalance that stuff in general. Really is devastating. Like, I mean, all of my previous, not all, but every main character I ever play in any RPG ever is a mage, because I love magic. It's just, who doesn't want to, shoot a fireball out of their hand and burn somebody alive?
Well, I play usually a Khajiit, so I don't. That Singe's fur.
Fair enough. But, going back to Morrowind, going back even farther than that to older RPGs.
Find a good number on the number of spells, not even counting custom spells and Oblivion. And it's just a ton of spells.
Yeah. I don't know what the exact number is in Skyrim, but I bet it's less than 100 for total spells.
Well, let's see. Illusion has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I would say a good quarter of those are master spells.
Yeah. See,
and I would alteration, which it's kind of cheating because that's combining alteration and mysticism from Oblivion.
Right.
Has more. Conjuration has a lot more, but that's also, I would say it's over 100.
Okay. Well, it's not very far over 100 then.
Yeah, but that's also kind of cheating because, Destruction has some very niche spells, then different elements and that sort of thing. But
and really, all of the destruction spells are the same. It's just replace your element. I mean, yeah, there's little, like
the rune spells, for example.
Yeah, and in general, like fire magic does more damage, frost magic slows, and lightning magic zaps opponents' magicka. But still, it's like, okay, they're basically the same. Those differences are minute in the base game without tweaks. So, yeah, the stripped out magic system is definitely the worst part for me.
Yeah, I would say, not counting conjuration, which, that's inflated because of all the different pieces of, bound armor and, weapons.
Right.
A good quarter of the magic is locked to being a master of that particular school.
Yeah. Okay. Question 8. How does it compare to another Elder Scrolls game, or the other Elder Scrolls games?
Okay.
We briefly touched on this earlier, but...
Yeah, I would say mechanically, it's better. Lore-wise, I would say it's about the same as Oblivion was. I still prefer Morrowind's story and lore, just because it feels a lot more interesting, as the world does as well.
Yeah.
But once you get down to questing, I would have to actually probably give it to probably Oblivion, because Oblivion has some really interesting different quests, not even tied just to the guilds. The troll quest where you go into that painting. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I love that quest.
Where you have poison that you put on your weapons that's paint thinner.
Yep.
Granted, it is just reskinning the world, but it's still something different.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I agree with you across the board. Mechanically, I think Skyrim is better, particularly with the combat system. But I think that both Oblivion and Morrowind have better quests, and there's definitely more lore in Morrowind. It's difficult to say about Oblivion.
Yeah, quests in Morrowind are really tough to judge, because a lot of them are tougher to find because they don't have the quest markers.
Right.
You have to read the quest dialogue, so that's why I'm kind of not really talking about it, because that is a completely different breed from Oblivion and Skyrim.
Yeah.
Instead of following the quest marker to whatever cave somewhere, it'll tell you, okay, leave town going south and follow the road until you come across a fallen tree. Follow that tree down the hill, and look for a pile of rocks or something.
Yeah.
It feels like you're actually going on an adventure instead of following a quest marker.
Oblivion did have a couple of quests like that.
Yeah, but they were severely stripped down.
They were very simplified.
And there were mods to remove the quest marker were terrible, because they built the quest to use that marker.
Yeah, there's not enough descriptive text to tell you where things are.
And in Skyrim's even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, the only quest I think that doesn't have a quest marker is the one to recover the 24 whatever gems.
Yeah, which that's the quest that desperately needs a quest marker.
Yeah, because you can't dump them out of your inventory because they're quest items. But it's like you could. It would take a long time, but, it's very unlikely you're going to find them all.
That's a quest you're looking up.
Yeah. Like every time I see one of those, I deliberately avoid it because I don't want to start that quest.
What, you don't want to leave no stone unturned?
But
And for those who don't know, that's the name of the quest.
Yeah. But so anyway, so what was the other things that you said? Mechanics.
Mechanics, Skyrim, lore. I would give a toss up between Oblivion and Morrowind, just depending on, do you want kind of more generic fantasy or something really unique?
Yeah.
Quests I left Morrowind out of just because it's tough to really compare apples to oranges.
Yeah.
And that's really all I covered.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any other areas that really should be compared. I mean, from a technical standpoint, they're all a mess.
Yeah. Even unmodded, all of them are very messy and will crash often.
Yeah.
I had a thing with Skyrim that for every so often it would just hang on a loading screen.
Right.
And I'm not sure if that was a mod doing that or what.
Here's a question. Out of the three, well, I was almost going to say modern, but Oblivion's not really modern anymore, and Morrowind's definitely not modern. Out of the 3D Elder Scrolls games, let's go with that. Because the 2D games were a whole different ball game.
Yeah, and I never played the 2D ones.
I've played them a bit, but they are nigh impenetrable. And it's not because they're bad games, it's just like...
It's a different era.
It's a different era. I grew up after those games were big and after, they had learned from them and moved on. So
Don't worry, I'm teaching you CRPGs with Divinity Original Sin.
You are.
I'm teaching you deep RPGs.
Out of the three of them, though, which one do you think is... What's the right word to use?
This is going to be fun.
The most grand. Not necessarily the best or whatever, but which one is like, yes, this game is like a masterpiece?
Oh, that's really tough because all of them have flaws that really prevent me from saying that.
Right.
So, Skyrim's rather meh gameplay and being really shallow on things that it really shouldn't. Oblivion for its voice acting, or lack thereof, or I should say lack thereof voice actors.
Hey, do they get points for Sean Bean and...
They don't get points for Patrick Stewart because they kill him in 5 minutes.
Okay, fair enough.
And I give him half a point for Sean Bean because he shows up for a couple quests, but you have maybe 15 minutes with him total.
Yeah, he does also stick to the Sean Bean conjecture that he must die and everything.
Dude, spoilers.
Oh.
Technically, he didn't die. Technically,
I mean, he sacrificed himself and turned into like a dragon thing, right? And then he turned into stone.
Yeah, but according to some of the Daedrics, it seems like he may have ascended to the Daedric plane, so and became a god there. Granted, we haven't seen him yet, but that doesn't really mean that much.
Okay. For me,
and plus, Shea Gorath put it best. He turned into a dragon. That's hardly sporting.
For me, I think the answer to that question, which one is, the most grand, the closest to a masterpiece, for me, that's Oblivion. It certainly has its share of flaws, and if we had another 2 hours, I would tell you all about the things that frustrate me about Oblivion.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure we will at some point.
But that game, at its heart, to me, is like a best of all worlds. It's still got great...
Oblivion has the best base.
Yeah,
to build for a modern gamer.
Yeah.
Morrowind, its primary problem these days, if you discount their very, very dated graphics, is the fact that behind all the combat, it is a bunch of dice rolls. And at low levels, it's very, very frustrating.
Yes.
Because it's acting like it should be a 2D fighting, but you're shooting in 3D, or you're swinging a sword in 3D.
Yep.
I mean, granted, you could come up with a little bit of a lower reason. Maybe it was a glancing shot and it didn't really penetrate, or maybe you didn't quite get that good hit that you were looking for, and it didn't do that much damage.
Yeah, but it's like on screen, it's like, nope, I definitely shot him. I definitely am stabbing him in the stomach. Why am I missing?
Yeah, it's a combat system that's built for 2D that in a 3D game.
Yeah,
which once you get past the early skill levels, it's not nearly as bad because you don't get those misses nearly as often. But it's that, the first few levels are the worst.
Yeah.
So I will agree that Oblivion is probably the best base to build, your mindset and play in. But it's not without its problems. I really dislike the Oblivion Gate system.
Why do you, okay. I have to know. Why do you dislike the Oblivion Gate system?
The fact that it feels so random and they pop up in places that make no sense. And also the fact that after you complete the main game, they're gone.
Yeah. I
mean, granted, it makes sense lore-wise, but gameplay-wise, once again, it's that gameplay lore disconnect that all the Elder Scrolls seems to have at some point.
Yeah.
So if you are going to beat the main storyline, you need to farm those Oblivion Gates to be able to get all those stones.
Right. Yeah, I basically avoid Kvatch, because if you don't go to Kvatch at the start of the game, you never trigger the Oblivion Gates, and you can basically do whatever you want until you're ready to tackle the main story.
And also, the fact that the Oblivion Gates become extremely difficult if you get past a certain threshold of level.
Yeah.
That's my main beef with the Oblivion Gates, is that they're difficulty scaling.
Yeah.
Which I really had to sit down and think about because it's been a while since I played Oblivion. What can I say?
Yeah, that's why I always make the chameleon armor, particularly for the final battle. Whenever you alone go through the Oblivion gates and you have to take care of all of them before the siege machines come through.
Yeah.
Siege engines.
Which was a cool cutscene, but that the battle before you go through, it's kind of laughable because you have maybe 20 people there. It's like, really, this is all everyone could muster?
Yeah. Well, that's the limitation of the engine and computing technology at the time.
At the time, it's still a problem because Bethesda refuses to give up that fucking engine. They're using the same engine that they used in Morrowind in Fallout 4.
Is it really that engine? I thought they changed engines.
Yes. No, it's the same engine.
And they were using the same engine from Oblivion, which is still pretty bad, but...
Oblivion is the same engine as Morrowind.
Dang. I didn't realize it went that far back.
I'm just double checking this to make sure that I'm... Okay, Morrowind is the Game Broyo engine.
Is the what engine?
Game Broyo.
Okay.
Bryo. Which, let's see, first appeared in 2001 in Dark Age of Camelot, and let's see if it's on here. Or maybe they are using a modified version of it. No, Fallout New Vegas is the last one, so maybe they actually moved away from it, or it's just on the Wikipedia listing.
Skyrim is powered by Bethesda's Creation Engine, created specifically for Skyrim.
Alright, it's the Creation Engine.
After Fallout 3, they redid the engine for Skyrim.
Okay, so they still need to go back to the drawing board then.
Yeah. I mean, that engine is 5, coming up on 6 years old.
Let's see.
At least. Actually, it'd probably be older because they started development for Skyrim, obviously, way before 2011, so.
So I was wrong on that, but still, yeah. It's not... Bethesda is trying to tell grander stories than what their technology allows them to.
Yeah.
And it creates this disconnect.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the final question, which are, do you have any final thoughts on the game after, now that we've played it for Game Club?
I'm glad I can uninstall it, because I really have no interest in playing Skyrim anymore.
Oh.
What?
Just you and I are so different about this game. But I mean, that's the whole reason we put out Game Club, was so we could play the same game and discuss from different points of view.
And that's why I gave the subtitle to this. As a matter of fact, I want that to be the episode title.
What's the subtitle? Agree to disagree?
Agree to disagree.
Okay. That's fair. Let me make a note here so I don't forget. I'll just put it next in the list.
For once, I'm giving you the title.
Yeah.
Because usually you're the one making up the episode titles.
Yeah, usually I make it up to try and be a pun or something related to something that happened in the show.
Yeah, and then I just sit here and go, oh, why did you say that?
Okay, agree to disagree. I made a note that should be the title for this episode.
Unless you come up with something worse.
I don't know. I might think about it, but that also requires work. Do I have any final thoughts?
I should say this, that a heavily modded Skyrim is a good game, but I'm looking at this at the foundation, and there's a little tease for something coming up.
Oh, I'm going to be up late tonight.
Hey, we're giving people what they wanted.
Yeah. You people demand a lot sometimes.
Looking at the foundation of what the game is, it just feels like it's the beta version of what should be here. Or a late alpha, that there should be more. There should be more polish. The Bard College should actually be something worth going to. The magic system, it feels like they need twice as many spells. The fact that they don't have the magic system, or the magic creation system in place. It's just all these little things. The fact that the horses were actually patched to allow combat. Before that, you couldn't even fight on the fucking horses.
Yeah.
So, it's just all these things make it feel like an unfinished game, and you have to go... Skyrim, to me, is a game that I'll play for an hour, 2 hours. I find something that pisses me off, then I go get a mod to fix it. and rinse and repeat until the save breaks.
Right. Well, my final thoughts are, first of all, I disagree with everything that you just said. I mean, even the base Skyrim I really enjoy. I mean, I had to enjoy it to play it for hundreds of hours. I had other games in college. It's not like this was the only game I had. But it became the only game I played because I really liked it that much, even at its base. But going forward, whenever the next Elder Scrolls game comes out in a couple of 3 years, I
hope it's better.
I don't think I would ever come back and play Skyrim when the next one comes. I would go back and play Oblivion. Like, I have played through Oblivion multiple times over the last decade.
It'll be an interesting game club when Oblivion eventually comes up.
Yeah.
Because it is on the list.
Yeah. I've played Oblivion for at least 2,000 hours. My old save on my Xbox 360, I had 2 saves that were over 1,000 hours, and 1 save that was in the 500-hour mark. I've played through it for probably 100 or 150 hours on PC, the non-Steam version, and then I've played the Steam version for like 60 hours. Like, I love Oblivion. I don't care that I know the quests inside and out, and I know exactly all the little tricks to do things, and still remember the duplication glitches that you can do with scrolls after they fix the one with arrows and like.
Oh, the one with arrows was hilarious because I may have filled up a few towns with watermelons.
Yeah, I've done that. But like I know all of this stuff.
Or cheese for everyone.
Cheese wheels all around, and I mean I know all of this stuff. And, to some people that might be boring, but I love it.
The paintbrush glitch.
I installed Oblivion on my laptop because it runs really well on my laptop because it's from like 2005 or 6. And I actually played Oblivion some while we were playing Skyrim. Like, I love that game. And so, I really enjoy Skyrim. But the main reason I play Skyrim right now is because of how technically superior it is to Oblivion. But when the next one comes out, I'll still go back to Oblivion. I don't think I'll ever come back to Skyrim when the next Elder Scrolls comes out. Unless it's just garbage. So, those are my final thoughts on Skyrim. So now we've got, 15 minutes worth of audio letter about Skyrim?
Yeah.
So yeah, enjoy that, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Hey guys, Ghost Shark here. Sending you in a little something about Skyrim. What to say about it? I had something prepared for this. A couple weeks ago, I started typing up something. Thought it was going to be pretty good. And turns out I have like 2.5, I would say 2.5 pages. It's not that much. At least a full page of some cockamamie story of me having to deal with the Hearthstone mod. And when I say dealing with it, I mean getting sucked into it, and not being able to actually progress in the story at all because I want to build my house. And then going into a bunch of stuff of the mods I was using and all that. So that was when I was going to defend my slightly less than crazier than normal amount of mods I was using at the time when you guys said you were wanting to keep it fairly vanilla. That being said, I'm not going to use any of that letter. We're going to scrap this, and you're getting this completely raw and uncut. Skyrim's always been one of my favorite games that I've never been able to play. And when I say never been able to play it, I mean I've done stuff with it. I have a love and hate relationship of big open world games like that where I fall in love with the exploration of the game, and finding everything there is to see in the world or finding interesting things and people. But I get so wrapped up in the exploration of the world that I don't actually complete objectives. It's only if a game is really well put together and very, very engrossing for an open world kind of thing that I would actually see it done to completion. Mass Effect is one of those kind of games, but this isn't a podcast about Mass Effect. This is about Skyrim. So yeah, Skyrim has, for me at least, an amazing story, an amazing world. I guess another tweak for it is the fact that I love cold weather and snow and anything else like that. So when it's balls hot in the middle of summer, I usually tend to install Skyrim and then just kind of stare at the scenery and hope for winter. That being said, story-wise, I love the sweeping story to it. The farthest I've ever gotten, I'm assuming there's going to be a spoiler warning to all this stuff. The farthest I've ever really gotten in the main storyline is the slightly past Alduin's Wall. I think I've met Parthenax. Yes, I know I have. I remember that now. Anyway, that's about as far as I've ever gotten in the main story. I end up hitting up side quests or building houses or checking out other mods. I've gone through a fairly decent chunk of the Dawnguard expansion. Maybe Dawnguard. Yeah, Dawnguard. I have seen almost the entirety of the Dark Brotherhood campaign. Same with the Thieves Guild. I have on occasion done a little bit in the Mages Guild, but not much because I've never really been one to do magic and a dedicated magic character. So yes, there are issues to the game. There are bugs and crazy things, and a lot of it can be solved with mods, or a lot of it can be exacerbated by mods, which is another point that I absolutely love about the game. It's progressed into something so much more than what it was originally intended to be. That's one thing, like them or hate them, and I do like them. They're kind of getting a few strikes in my book on, in the bad book recently. But Bethesda really had some great forward thinking when they built their framework the way they did to be able to support mods the way it does. I mean, the fact that the community is able to create the unofficial patches to fix the bugs and and all the odds and then things that are broken with the game, and make it seamless, as long as nothing else gets added into the game. True. That's a whole other story. There should be like a whole masterclass on modding Skyrim or Fallout and all that stuff. And in fact, actually there is. A lot of the stuff I get is from Gopher, the YouTuber who has made mods for all of the games and does some amazing playthroughs and stuff. So now I know what you're thinking. If the game's so good, why does it have bugs, and why are we having to fix it on our own rather than Bethesda fixing it? Well, my personal opinion and take on it is that they can't find everything. These games are so massive. There's millions upon millions of lines of code. Something's going to slip through, and the more people that are involved in a project that big, the more chances that things can actually slip through. I know it seems kind of counterproductive, but I've seen it many times. The more eyes you can get on a project, sometimes the worse it's going to be, because the assumption is that, somebody will find that one and I don't have to report anything, or, there's a myriad of reasons why it doesn't work, but it's just my personal opinion and with life in general that's how things go. That's why you see games like Stardew Valley being such an amazing project with just one guy involved. But anyway, we're not talking about Stardew Valley or Mass Effect. We're talking about Skyrim. I don't know. The modding community is one of the biggest selling points of the game for me. And, I just noticed that I'm realizing now that I'm rambling quite a bit here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop before my stuff just gets to be an incoherent mess. And I will let you guys go back to discussing, or let other people get into the mix here. But all in all, I will say that Skyrim is definitely one of my all-time favorites, even though I have never really gotten as far as some people have gotten in a game. It's still an absolute blast to play. And every time I get the urge to play it, half of the fun for me is reorganizing my list of what I want to build mod-wise and, the kind of character I want to be and the direction I want to go in the adventures. So starting off, I have a really fun time of doing all that kind of stuff, and then I usually end up trying to just gather wood and metal and other bits and bobs for my house to try and turn it into, Extreme Home Makeover Skyrim Edition. So, anyways, I will talk to you later, guys.
At first, I planned to play the main story of Skyrim in the special edition and therefore started playing as soon as it came out. But from there on, things went down. The first thing I encountered was that it didn't look better. Although I have to admit that I don't have a direct comparison as I played it the last time like years ago. Instead, they messed up the lighting so that there were deep shadows in weird places which were really obvious. Also, I realized that it sounded awful, which after some googling was because they butchered the sound compression. As all of this happened more or less within the first 15 minutes of gameplay, I just stopped playing it, deinstalled it, and played some more Kerbal, which is a really good game. As I still want to say at least something positive about Skyrim, I'm now going to talk about the normal edition, which I played years ago. Besides the aged graphics, horrible UI for keyboard and mouse, and weird dead faces, I think that it can be a very immersive, beautiful game. They were able to build an interesting world with many little details you can explore, and there's a lot to do outside the main quest, which is yet another predictable, standard RPG story. So my score is better than No Man's Sky. And that in every point, because Skyrim has a story, has an interesting world, different towns and houses, and not just the same station all over again. Points of interest are within suitable range, and it's not a walking simulator. A way better crafting system, better inventory system, and you can even fast travel to places you've been before. So after all, I think, although Skyrim is not an outstanding good game, it's enjoyable. And I think you can play it for a decent amount of time, although you probably will never play the main story toward the end. Alright, that's all from me. That's Groove, signing off.
So, Nerd Bro, what's on the agenda for the show tonight?
Alright, so, Crash, the show tonight's gonna be about Skyrim, and we're gonna have some callers, so vamp for a little bit while I get them on the line. We put out an internet ad for this, so we should get some pretty high-quality guests.
Alright, sounds good, Nerd Bro. Yeah, so I guess work your sound booth magic, and let's do this.
Alright, sounds good, Crash. You're live in 3, 2...
Alright, this is Crash, broadcasting to the Scrub Squad on WBRO, the leadest station this side of the Mississippi. Yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about Skyrim. Now, tonight's going to be a little bit special. We've got some call-in guests, so looking at you, Nerd Bro. Alright, yeah, it looks like we have our first guest. Alright, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hi, Crash.
What's up, bro?
Here's a question for you. What goes better with bananas? Ketchup, mayo, or mustard?
Okay, solid question, bro. I would actually go with none of the above. I feel that bananas pair well with horseradish. And if you want to bro it up a little bit, I mean, come on, bro, who doesn't? You might want to have a tumbler of whiskey beside that. And that's just going to be your solid bro gamer fuel right there. All right, thanks for calling in. Do we have another caller? Okay, cool. Caller, you're on WBRO, the bro.
Hey, Crash, I heard you were doing a call about Skyrim, so I just had to call in since it's like my favorite game ever. So my question is this. I want to launch a craft amendments and have a bunch of extra room to bring back as much of that mini goodness as possible. So, like, where should I store it? Like in empty fuel tanks? I'm thinking I might enhance the flavor, but I wanted to ask you what you thought.
I actually don't know. That would actually, I think, be a question for the boys down in the lab. Thanks for the call in, and glad to hear that you like Skyrim. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break now, but we'll be back after these messages. Yo, Nerd Bro, are you screening these?
Yeah, those are some pretty high-quality guests, right?
No, nerd bro. The first guy was fine. The second guy, he kind of sounded like an overeager woods clown who was a little bit too anxious, if you catch my drift.
Sorry about that, Crash. Alright, we're back live in 3, 2...
Alright, welcome back to the Bro. My name is Crash, and tonight we're taking calls about Skyrim. It looks like we have another caller. Alright, caller, you're on the line. Thanks for calling in to the Bro.
Hey Crash, Caffeine Rage here. I got somebody that's trying very hard to pull me into Call of Duty Black Ops, the zombie mode of it, rather against my will. And I want to know how can I make myself not be a complete fool when I finally can actually play this game and he doesn't decide to try to get me to play when I'm actually busy with something else.
Okay, yeah, so that's a pretty common question that we get around here. So basically, if your friend, I have no idea what the relationship is here, if your friend is trying to get you to play Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, number one, you should totally take him up on that. But number two, just watch what he does and then ask questions, just basically try to get the feel of the game by just observation and asking a lot of questions. And that'll get you pretty far in the Call of Duty Black Ops sphere. So thanks for calling in, Rage. Looks like we got another caller. Alright, caller, you're on with Crash on the Bro.
Hey Crash, it's your cousin. Want to...
Nope, okay, next caller.
Hey Crash, long-time listener, first-time caller. I just had a quick question of Skyrim, then I'll let you get back to your awesome show. So I was wondering, what's your favorite meal of the day? Mine's lunch, but sometimes I really like breakfast. But sometimes I have a really awesome pizza for dinner, so then that's like my favorite meal of the day. But usually it's lunch, except on Sunday. Then I get up late and skip breakfast, so lunch becomes my breakfast. And usually my dinner becomes my lunch, and then that's my favorite meal of the day. So, yeah, I guess that's about it. I was just wondering what your favorite meal is. So, yeah, okay, I'll talk to you later.
Well, my favorite meal of the day is less of a meal, and more of just my gamer fuel sessions, and that's basically where I eat Mountain Dew Doritos. I'm glad to hear that you have a favorite, single meal. Anyways, this has just been awful. We have time for one more call. Caller, you're on the Bro. Please pull this out of the ditch.
Hey, Crash, this is Kyle. My question about Skyrim is this. What is your single biggest regret in life?
Well, right now, I would actually say this show, right here, right now. Nobody talked about Skyrim. What the hell was even the point of doing this radio show? Anyways, thanks for calling. Just, this was a horrible idea. I might see you next week on WBRO, The Bro. Hey, Nerd Bro.
Yeah, what's up, Crash?
Where exactly on the internet did you post about this?
Yeah, I put the ad up on Craigslist and basically spammed it to every single place that Craigslist has.
Alright, so maybe next time, don't use fucking Craigslist. Oh my god, tonight was terrible. I am gonna go to the bar and drink just a, quite frankly, irresponsible amount of alcohol.
And thank you everybody for all of your contributions to making this game club even longer. Did we hit 2 hours? We had to take a couple of breaks in there.
Come on, my timer only shows 2 hours, 35 minutes right now.
Okay, so we hit about an hour and a half, which is what I thought we were going to for Game Club. And that is, of course, before you add in the audio letters to lengthen it. Yeah. But after Game Club, that means it's time for a new voting.
Yep. Well, first we have our pick from the last voting, which we never announced because that was in the middle of all the crisis with the Game Club trying to figure out what the fuck are we going to do.
Right. Go ahead.
So, the new game that we're going to be playing is Crimson Skies.
Indeed.
This is an abandonware game, so you are going to have to go hunt this down. I'm testing a link that I found right now. If I find it's working before I put together the show notes, I will link to where I got this. This is a game from 2001, I believe. It's going to not be great for modern systems. You're going to have to play it in windowed mode, or you're going to have to stretch it to get widescreen mode working.
Yeah. Also, if you happen to have an original Xbox kicking around, you can play it on that. I wonder how much it costs.
Why would you have such an old potato?
The Xbox was pretty powerful back in the day. Let's see, how much does it cost on eBay? I bet it's going to be a lot of money. Actually, no. If you've got an old Xbox kicking around and you don't have it, you want to buy it, it's $2.47. So, on eBay. There's if you buy a sealed version, obviously it's a lot more, but used version, $3-4 it looks like. Some of them free shipping, some of them not. And obviously this will vary based on your country. But at least in the U.S., you can get it for a couple of bucks.
Yeah, so this is one of those places where, piracy really saves the game because this isn't available digitally at all.
No. I'm checking on Amazon now. Amazon's usually a little more consistent even across regions.
Amazon box copy of the PC version is $41 right now.
Mm-hmm. If you do have it on Xbox, though, it looks like you can get it for a few bucks. $10 is the top. And it says all the way down to 1 cent, but that's probably a crappy condition one.
That's probably someone selling it for 1 penny and then, selling it, shipping for, $50.
Oh yeah, good point. So, yep, Crimson Skies. Alright, so our new voting, which is going to air...
this is going to be the last Tuesday of December then, if we're, how do we, this is something else we probably should have figured out. Do we want the VGL, awards being the 20th and keeping the game club the last Tuesday of the month, or swap them?
No, we should do that. We should keep the game club the last episode of the month, and we'll do the VGL awards. That episode will come out Christmas Eve. So I think that can be our Christmas present to you, the VGL awards.
The VGL awards will come out the 23rd.
23rd. Yeah, 24th. Yes, Christmas on a Sunday. You're right. It's 23rd.
Yeah, and if my math is correct, that also is our 52nd episode.
Yeah. So this is our anniversary and Christmas present all wrapped up in one for you guys. We'll go over the VGL awards in more detail in the next week or two. We've got all our categories finalized. We don't have all of our submissions finalized. And there's also going to be some audience participation. So we'll cover all of that soon, but this week was so packed we couldn't get into that.
Yeah.
Anyways, we still have to list the games for the voting.
Yep. The games for the voting is, I'm doing a double pack just to make things even longer.
Right.
Mostly because the first game is so short. Portal and Portal 2.
Yep.
And I'm going to do a caveat to this. If we do Portal and Portal 2, you have to analyze GLaDOS after you play the single player of Portal 2.
Okay, I can do that.
Sound good?
I can do that. Audience, if you want to both hear us talk about a great game or a great series, set of games, whatever, do that. And also if you want to hear me do a psychoanalysis on GLaDOS, I'll probably write up a case study of her.
Well, whatever you wish. I just wanted GLaDOS analyzed, particularly after the events of Portal 2.
Okay. Can do.
Because Portal 2 is one of those games that I think I could safely recommend to nearly anyone. Because a lot of people are kind of turned off by violence in video games, but Portal and Portal 2 are very, very simple puzzle games at the start, but they do a great job of teaching you.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're doing some really complex things that if you look at it from the outside, it's like, how the fuck did I do that?
Yeah.
So, just great games overall.
Yep. Okay, my pick is...
And plus, we also did the co-op recently, so we would be able to talk about that as well.
Yeah. My pick was FTL. That's Faster Than Light, if you're not aware. It is an indie darling from a few years ago that still holds up very well. It is available on iPad. I'm not sure if it's available on Android, but it's definitely available on iPad, and also on PC. The iPad version is incredibly good. If I have it, because whenever they did one of their advanced versions or whatever, the really big update, if you owned it on PC, you could also get a copy for iOS for a short time.
There's no Android port of FTL, and they have no interest in doing it. Because I guess they're allergic to money.
Well, Android has something like a 90 or 95% piracy rate for big titles. So,
true.
I mean, it might not be worth their money. But anyways, it plays really well on tablet as well as PC. So, depending on what you have and what your desires are, you can play through a round of FTL in as fast as a few minutes if you die immediately. Or...
Well, you can say that about a lot of games, actually.
Yeah, fair play. Or you can play, a run can take you a couple of hours if you do really well. But
I would say average run would be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
with the successful being hour and a half to 2.
Yeah.
If you're taking your time, if you know the game fairly well, you could probably get a successful run down to an hour.
And this is a brutally difficult game. Like, not unfairly. It's just really hard. Even on easy, your win-loss ratio will be in the toilet.
Well, I have a little disagreement there already.
Okay.
So if you want to hear us disagree some more.
Right. And the game that we decided to play, or, on together to suggest is Reciteer. Reciteer is a really cute game that...
Business sim slash action RPG dungeon crawler.
Yeah. It's a really awesome game with some disparate mechanics that you would think wouldn't go well together, but the developers really took some time and care and effort to make this game, and it all works really nicely together. So, fun game. I would suggest, though, that you look it up. It's really difficult to describe, honestly, in just a couple of minutes. So look up some stuff on Reciteer if you're more interested. Okay. Well, let's move on from this then, and move on to the only news topic, which we received several requests to talk about this week. So,
if this wasn't requested so much, we probably would have cut it.
Yeah, because I haven't had time to play No Man's Sky since the new update came out.
I don't think the update is out on PC yet.
It is.
It is?
Yeah, it is.
Well, we'll be launching you into space, you little space monkey, later.
Yeah, it was available last week, or maybe it was over the weekend for consoles. And then people who had access to the beta build were able to play it this weekend. And Monday, or it was either yesterday or today that it went live on PC. Because I downloaded it and have got it. I just haven't had a chance to play it. But so yeah, I guess I should actually read the news topic.
Yeah, really.
Let's see, where is it on the list? Here we go. No Man's Sky delivers the, and I'm making air quotes here, Foundations update. So, first of all...
So it turns out this was early access.
Yeah, first of all, good job on the name, guys. It'd be pretty hard to pick a shittier name for your first, I don't know, content update.
I disagree.
Expansion, whatever.
Because Foundation, that implies that, they're starting to build the game.
I mean, that's fair. I see what you're saying, but out of all the names they could have picked, they picked the one that was the most easily criticizable.
That's why I like it.
Fair play.
And also, they're saying that this isn't even all the base building. This is the foundation of the base building.
Yeah, that's why they're calling it Foundations. They're saying, this is the beginning system, or like the beginnings of a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to add to the game, and all of this cool stuff that we're going to do. And
welcome to early access, boys.
Yeah, I will say, watching the trailer for it,
the trailer was very impressive.
It looks impressive.
But here's the thing: is that Hello Games can make trailers look very impressive for very shitty projects.
Yeah,
because we've found this out before with a little game called No Man's Sky.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I mean, it looks impressive, but I have zero faith in them, so I don't believe any of it's true. So I'm looking for because we've got like 5 things here. I'm looking for the one that actually lists off all the stuff that's in the update so I can talk about it.
It's the one linking directly to Hello Games, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
To No Man's Sky.
I got it.
NoMan'sSky.com.
So what this does is it basically does the survival thing and has different game modes now. So you've got normal mode, which is the game as it was when it launched. You have creative mode, which is, you're invincible and you have unlimited resources. Go explore. And you can build, bases or whatever you want. And then there's survival mode, which apparently turns the already unfair and frustrating and wildly swinging survival elements up to 11. People have been saying that it's brutal, and they've been unable to get off of their home planet. There's a lot of that. It also adds base building, which the way that the base building system works is that there are little hubs that you can find on planets. I mean, they're like little sheds, basically. And whenever you find a shed, you can claim it as yours and then build a base around the shed.
Yeah, but you better hope nobody else shows up. Oh, wait.
I don't, on the one hand, I like it.
I just want to ask one question. Okay, this is supposed to be an exploration game. I understand that the freighters make sense.
Right.
But building a base on a planet when the entire point of the game is to never fucking see that planet again? Why?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. On the one hand, I like it because you do find things that you're like, man, I wish I could, be able to come back and check this out because it looks really cool, or it produces like amazing screenshots, or it just like gives me this feeling inside for whatever reason. So on the one hand,
usually revulsion that you paid $60 for this game.
So on the one hand, I'm just going to breeze by that. On the one hand, I see why, but on the other hand, this game has been advertised as, go everywhere, explore everything, don't stay in the same place for too long, so it's kind of counterintuitive to me, but whatever. I mean, I like that. And there's some elements to the base building that sound pretty cool. You can recruit people to work at your base and,
oh no, more than one alien in one place.
Yeah.
Whatever will we do?
Yeah, you can have up to 5 aliens in your base.
5, wow.
That each handle different things, and you can now research technology spending resources instead of having to find it randomly. That's probably the best application of bases, but you can also do all this stuff on your freighter, so I don't understand.
Honestly, if they didn't have the base building on planet and just focused on having freighters that you could have as a mobile base, that would have made a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, the freighters make a ton more sense, but whatever. So, that's nice.
I mean, granted, the base building is essentially the same system as building out your freighter, the innards of it.
Yeah.
It's just on planet instead of in a shell of a freighter.
Yeah.
So it's more they're just applying the same system twice than anything else.
To me, the way it makes the most sense is one of the things you can craft in your base is a teleporter that will take you directly to the space station in a system if there is one. So it makes sense to me to fly around, find a planet that has lots of rare resources on it, build a base there, and just farm those resources until you have enough money to buy a freighter. And, just teleport back and forth to the space station to sell stuff until you get the trading attachment for your base. And then once you do that, buy a freighter and never build another base again.
Boy, this seems really interesting.
I mean, I find that interesting, but at the same time, I don't trust that it's going to be good, so we'll see.
Also something that kind of pisses me off. Did you read the link, the tweet Sean Murray tweeted out?
No.
It's the archive link. Click it.
Okay.
I wanted to get your first thoughts on this because this kind of pissed me off, actually.
If you could have lived our lives over the last months, you'd know how meaningful this is.
Is it just me, or are they playing the victim card
I
here?
feel like they're playing the victim card. It's totally your fault, guys. I mean, everyone could get past the shittiness of the game
if you
at least talked about it. And
here's the thing: is that before this game came out, he couldn't shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, it was a solid. I think it was 90 days or 98 days. It was 90-something days because they put up a counter on the subreddit.
It was right at 3 months.
Yeah, it was 3 months that we didn't hear from them on anything meaningful. They had a couple of little things like, we're still working, but not Sean Murray, and nothing of any substance.
Yeah. The only thing that broke Sean Murray away from the taint of the hookers I was snorting coke off of was when they got they got hacked, and he tweeted out, "Hey, you guys still hacked?"
Yeah. So other things the update adds is farming, which is part of the base building system, but
yeah, hydroponics.
Yeah, hydroponics, which that's kind of neat, kind of cute, but whatever.
That makes more sense in the frigates.
It does. It does make more sense. This is the only part of the base building that I think makes sense, like the most sense to me, is you now have little pieces of things that you can place down in the world. And some of them, a couple of them should have been there from the beginning, or should not even have things that have to be placed, like saving. You shouldn't have to find a save point. It may be like in hardcore mode, fine. But in the regular game, you shouldn't have to find a save point to save. And waypoints. Freaking waypoints. That should not even be a feature in an update. That should have just been. You also can now scan planets.
I can't hear you. I'm snorting coke off a hooker's taint. You
can now scan planets for resources, and it will point you in the general direction of deposits. And that makes it easier to figure out which planets to go to or avoid. Because if you're looking for something to make an upgrade or whatever, you just fly around until you find it, basically. And it has field equipment. like mining, little mining
Drones.
drones and save beacons that you can build, and communication terminals, which was something that was advertised as being part of the game anyways, being able to leave messages for people to find on planets.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, those things make sense.
You wasted $60.
And then
I would just start leaving as read up messages the system would allow me if I actually bought this game.
they also added freighters, which we've kind of talked about, but basically freighters
are flying versions of the bases.
Yeah, they're flying versions of the bases. You can get a crew of aliens to do stuff. You can have more than, I think, 5, but there's really only the 5 ones that matter. And you can do everything in a freighter that you can do on a base, except, like you said, fly around. And there's different types, but we don't know anything about the different types yet, so we'll have to find out what those do. They added new resources and technology you can produce, and they added inventory stacking, which was one of the biggest complaints I had. It's like, why can't I stack these little chips that would fit in my pocket? No, they each take up an inventory slot. Well, now they can stack. And then they also...
But they talk about that being a great feature.
Yeah, the best feature.
Huge feature.
The greatest feature. They also added changed the UI a little bit. They made things...
Yeah, icons a little clearer.
Yeah, they added, like little things that show you how much your health is being drained or whatever, which is useful because you really didn't know most of the time.
Yeah, change indicators.
Yeah, it was basically either
a rate of change, I guess, is the proper term for it.
Yeah, before it was basically like, well, this isn't really doing much to me. Or it's like, oh my gosh, I'm dying immediately every time I step out of my ship. And then they did a few other nice quality of life things where the resources before had just generic icons, and now they each have their periodic table symbol, or the periodic shorthand for them on the icons, which is nice. And you can teleport stuff to your starship without having to be close to it or in it, so that's handy. That's about it. I mean, they were like, we added motion blur to our game, which I hate motion blur.
Why is that a good feature?
Or they added more motion blur, I should say. Which, I hate motion blur, but they're excited about it.
Make the game run even shittier.
And then they added, TAA, temporal anti-aliasing, to the game. Mm-hmm. And I just turned anti-aliasing off because game doesn't really have that many jaggies anyways, and it was such a performance hog.
Yeah. Well, see, No Man's Sky runs so well that, yeah, you can afford to run temporal AA.
Yeah. I love how they make a big deal out of it, too. Like, TAA has been around for a long time now. They're like, we added this new technology, temporal anti-aliasing. And it's like, okay, whatever. But I guess, we've said this before. The majority of audiences for games aren't like us. We're the minority who know all this stuff, so... I mean, I guess I could see that being flashy. And then they have just like a list of all the bug fixes that supposedly happened. But in at least the beta version and the first version to go up on console, there were a lot of people complaining that the performance drops were as bad, if not close to as bad, as when the game first released, despite all of these numerous bug fixes and everything. So... good job, guys, on fixing those bugs.
See you in about 6 months. Well, there is one other thing, is that people were rooting around in the patch, and they found a folder called Buggy.
Oh, yeah, there's a rumor that there's going to be ground vehicles.
Oh, wait, that's not the main name for the root folder of this game?
Touché. But that's not known for sure. People just think that it is. There's a model that looks kind of like a ground vehicle, and
it's called a buggy.
Yeah, and it's called a buggy. Which I'm not convinced of that either. There are quite a few spaceships that look like they should have wheels on them in No Man's Sky, so maybe not. I'm not going to get my hopes up for ground transportation either.
I think when it comes to No Man's Sky, that's the phrase you should be using overall. I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to...
And what really disappoints me is that even before this patch came out, and with the trailer for it, the hype train just completely went absolutely batshit again.
Yeah.
And I would accuse people of having the memory of fucking goldfish, but it's been proven that goldfish have a memory of at least 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting here thinking, they lied to you before.
Yeah. I mean, I really wanted to like No Man's Sky when I first played it. I mean, we went through over and over all kinds of stuff with that when it released, and
the entire time I was sitting here just shaking my head.
Yeah. And I mean, there were genuine things that I really like about No Man's Sky. I'm hoping, I don't know, whatever the right phrase is. I want this to make the game, like before it was pretty close to 50-50, and eventually I just couldn't take it. I would like it if this shifted it more towards like 75-25, because I've played a lot of games at 75-25 and been able to forgive the 25, and then I could enjoy the game. You know, I'm gonna try it, but I don't have any expectations.
I'm really looking forward, update-wise to No Man's Sky.
What?
The patch in about 2173. No Man's Sky. Okay, we're finally got everything we promised in it.
2173, that's a pretty optimistic guess.
I'm being very optimistic here. Because they got freighters in and they got base building in, so that's 2 things off the massive checklist that they could tick off, and it only took them 3 months.
Yeah.
Granted that we don't know how far along these systems were before, and they're not done with these systems because they say this is a foundation of the base building system. So, there's going to be more to this.
I think they finally caved under the pressure. I think that's what this is. Because
they realized, oh crap, we got to get something out. Otherwise, we're going to have no players left.
Yeah, I mean, they'd been getting ripped to shreds. Their player numbers were dropping on PC. I mean, their player numbers were almost dead on PC, and they had been dropping on PlayStation. There were pictures everywhere of like, oh, look at all the bargain bin of No Man's Sky. And it's like, a huge bin filled with, hundreds of copies of No Man's Sky.
I've seen bargain bins, pictures of them with, only copies of No Man's Sky.
Yeah. So.
Okay, let's see. What's the player? Wow. They went from 400 to a peak of it's going downhill again. It's right at 7,000 for the 24-hour peak. That's a hell of a jump, actually.
Yeah.
Granted, it doesn't compare to their all-time peak of 212,321.
No, it does not. But I do think that this was them, like, caving, like, okay, we were just going to keep, plugging away at this until it was finished and maybe get it out, I don't know, in 6 months. That's just off the top of my head.
The summer update.
Yeah, maybe. Or, like the anniversary update or whatever, But they were like, we are in so much shit right now. We have to do something. And so they pushed out what they could that was complete or far enough along that, it's not completely broken. And we're like, okay, here's an update. Jeez, leave us alone.
It's going to be interesting to see in a couple weeks what the player numbers are going to be.
Yeah.
Because already they've lost, just in the couple days, about, I would say 1,000 players off peak. Granted, that is coming from, I think, Sunday to Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it may just be days of the week, but yeah, that's not a good trend.
No, it's not. Okay. Well, I mean, that's really all I have to say about it this week without actually having played it. We'll talk about it next week when I've played it, and who knows, maybe over the next couple of weeks as I kind of suss out the good and the bad. Or just the bad. I seriously doubt it's going to be all good. Even if I had, like, maximum faith in them, there's always bad stuff in every update. Regardless of who you are. But No Man's Sky probably could get it all wrong. Hello Games could probably get it all wrong.
Probably?
Yes, probably. Okay.
But that's people wanting us to hear about, talk about No Man's Sky, so let's dive quickly into the community corner.
Yes, let's do that. We might actually get done by 2:30. Okay, so we had
A
letter from Ghost Shark, an audio letter. So let's play the audio letter, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Well, like 6 minutes, I think.
Greetings, guys. Ghost Shark here with another audio letter. So I wanted to kind of start off this one mentioning a game that I don't know if you guys have heard about. It's won some awards recently from the Golden Joystick Awards. It's a game called Overwatch. Not sure if you've heard about it or not. Now, in all seriousness, I am a pretty big Overwatch fan, and for good reasons. I think it's a very well put together game. I think it's very well deserved for what it had, the awards that it got. It's not quite TF2. I hear it referenced to that a lot. But the reason I say I don't think it is because where TF2 you had characters, true, but the characters were just the classes. With Overwatch you have different people, and each person does something a little bit different in terms of their role in the game. So, one defense person, or player, or character, is not going to be the same as another defensive character. One healer does his healing jobs a lot differently than another healer. So, now I have thought about this a lot, and I am kind of a closet Blizzard fan, so I did a lot to try and decide whether I was being a Blizzard fanboy or just if I could distance myself. And I honestly feel that I can distance myself. The game is just good whether it was Blizzard or not. In fact, I would love to be able to play it more often. I don't get to all that much because I don't know many people that do play it. So I've never really hit too high in the rankings, and I've never done any ranked play yet, so I would love to change that if other people in the VGL community do play. I would definitely be interested in teaming up and, getting into the competitive scene a bit, maybe. I don't know, possibly. Anyway, that's just my 2 thoughts on that one. The other one you were talking about was Overwatch, or not Overwatch. Yeah, you already mentioned Overwatch. Ingress and Pokemon Go. You were talking about interactions in the game and, how they're kind of simple games and stuff like that. And they are, but that's kind of the point behind it. It's meant to get people involved with each other and help share information rather than, just relying on a game to do the job for it. While Pokemon Go has less group strategy than Ingress, there's no small amount of shared stories or experiences to be had for people who are still playing either game. As for Ingress, the amount of things you can do with the minimal interface is nothing short of amazing. Just to give you a quick idea of how the game works. As an agent, you visit portals throughout the world. Your faction scores points if you link 3 portals together into a triangle. The more landmass is covered, the greater the score for your faction. Now, you can't link 2 portals if they can't reach each other, or if there's another link intersecting your potential link. So to simplify things, the bigger the field you want to make, the more links you have to clear in order to throw some good links between the portals you want. Okay. And you also have to have keys for the portal that you want to throw a link to, which means you have to have either physically been at that portal or have been handed the key by someone who has visited that portal. So with this description, you can see how planning and... Wait, what? Man, this script is horrible. Who wrote this? What the... And my watch is going crazy, too. Anyways, you can see the level of planning involved in making a successful op, and that's not even taking into account if the opposite faction is actively opposing you. It can take anything from a handful of agents to several dozen, depending on the op. From key deliveries to lane clearing to counterlink or spaghetti defense, a lot goes into closing up a field. Myself, I only worked on a couple big ops. Nothing is organized or meticulously planned as what the norm seems to be. It was usually done via Google Hangouts or text messages, just asking who's in the area, what keys they had, and how late they're willing to stay up and stay out. The biggest I ever spearheaded was a field big enough to cover 2 whole counties and most of the St. Louis. But I was part of a crew that helped clear lanes for an impromptu guerrilla op that ended up covering up the entire state of Missouri and pretty big chunks of Illinois and Iowa. What am I getting at? I don't know. I'm not too sure at this point. My brain's taken so many sharp turns down nostalgia lane, just kind of prepping and planning for this letter, that I don't even know where my initial point was going to be. I guess I'll just finish us up by saying I don't really consider Pokemon Go or Ingress to be games per se, but more of a sociable experiment or experience, something to bring people together under a common goal. From my experiences, people who never would have even thought to associate with each other end up working together and maybe even gaining some valuable friendships in the meantime. Not too unlike some weird little game about little green aliens trying and mostly succeeding to get into space by causing a handful of fans to be an even closer knit group of players from the original community. So, alright, I'm starting to trip over my words, and all my electronic devices seem to be going haywire at the moment, so I'm going to wrap this letter up and hear what you guys got to say about it.
Alright, thank you, Ghost Shark, sir, for your audio letter.
I think I'm going to respectfully disagree with him on Overwatch. Him talking about it would have been as good a game if it wasn't a Blizzard game. I'm going to disagree there. What about you?
Well, it depends. If
okay, let me give my points, and then we'll see what you think.
Okay.
I'm going to disagree on really 2 points. One, marketing. Everyone went absolutely batshit because this is Blizzard putting out a new IP.
Okay.
And 2, this is the bigger one actually, is resources. And I'm not just talking about coding talent. I'm talking about the raw resources Blizzard has because they have the cash cow of MMOs still.
Yeah.
Because Overwatch is the leftovers of a carcass that was Titan.
Yeah.
So, granted, we don't know how much of Overwatch is pulled from Titan, at least as far as I've heard. I've never really heard any actual figures on, just what they saved, if it was just the lore or if there was, character development and everything else going on as well. But this is pulled from the carcass of a dead MMO. And Blizzard has the resources to just really throw a game away that they don't think is going to work. Look at StarCraft Ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you can't. It never came out because they trashed it.
Well, you can go back and watch the E3 stuff from a long time ago.
Yeah, true.
But
yeah, very true. But still, it's they have the ability to say, no, this isn't up to our standards, and just eat the loss.
Yeah, which is why pretty much every Blizzard game is amazing, because they will throw away anything that doesn't meet their very high standards.
I would say at least very highly polished, because Diablo 3 on release wasn't really amazing because some of the design decisions, primarily the auction house.
Yeah. I am not 100% sure. On the one hand, I'm thinking, okay, if the game really did come out exactly the same from an indie studio or any other random studio.
Okay, well we could actually draw a parallel here with Paladins. I mean, Paladins
sort of,
but Paladins is also getting a boost because it's essentially a free-to-play Overwatch.
That is true, but Paladins, has come after Overwatch. It's very difficult to judge the games that follow the preceding game.
Even though Paladins didn't proceed or follow it by that much, but still.
No. Anyways, though, it would gain a lot of traction because Overwatch is a genuinely good game. I have my qualms with it, but overall it's a good game. I mean, I played it during the beta, and I'm sure it's evolved a lot since then, just as Blizzard has listened to player feedback and stuff, but I think it would have still gotten... Do what?
Sorry, I said poor Evolve.
Oh. I think that it still would have gained a lot of traction, especially if it was an indie game, because it would have been like, wow, look at this amazing indie game. Like, every indie game that gets that kind of response sells a cajillion copies. It's, it happened with Brothers, it's happening right now with Owlboy, FTL is an example. Just on and on. Games that are like, look at this amazing game by this indie dev. Shovel Knight, they sell a cajillion copies. But you're right, Blizzard does have this massive marketing arm, and they did have the added bonus of like, this is the first new Blizzard IP in forever. So,
yeah, well, unless you're, really depends on how you count Heroes of Warcraft, or that came out after. It came out after. Now I'm blanking on Blizzard names.
Hearthstone.
Well, Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm was what I was looking for.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Blizzard has put out new IPs before, but this is a completely new universe. That's the thing.
I don't consider Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm new IPs. They're kind of spin-offs.
Yeah.
Because Hearthstone is just, it's all from World of Warcraft. It's World of Warcraft distilled into a CCG, collectible card game. And that is a bit of an oversimplification, but at its heart, that's what it is. Whereas Heroes of the Storm is just an amalgamation of every Blizzard property ever into a MOBA. So, they do new things for sure, but I don't consider them new IPs.
Well, I was going to go more with brand new universe, since this is new lore, new everything else.
Right.
But the marketing arm for Blizzard pushed this game heavily. Just all the little shorts that they had, the commercials. It's was absolutely a huge push, and that's part of the reason why that and the reason why that and Battleborn kind of sucked. That Battleborn failed.
Here's my speculation on what would have happened if this was not a Blizzard game. It comes out exactly the same, but it's not made by Blizzard, and it goes up against Battleborn. I think Battleborn would have survived because that was the main thing. Battleborn, it's not the same game as Overwatch. It's got its good points and its bad points, just like any other game.
Battleborn is a lot stronger on its MOBA roots.
Right.
Overwatch, you actually brought it up that Overwatch is more FPS with ultimate abilities. And you talked about the comparison with TF2. And TF2, I'm not sure how long ago you played it, because TF2, it's not just the characters anymore, but there's subclasses for each character now.
Yeah, it's been years since I've played TF2.
Well, I was more talking about Ghost Shark because, for example, a demo man using the lock and load and the regular grenade launcher are two very separate subclasses. Then you get into the abomination that is Demo Knight.
Right. But anyways, I think if Overwatch had come out against... I'm drawing a blank on it now. Battleborn. Exactly the same.
Don't worry, a lot of people are drawing a blank on Battleborn.
But I think if it had been exactly the same and it was just not a Blizzard studio, I think Overwatch would have still done really well, but not have completely captured that one market instance, and Battleborn would still be around as a stronger contender. It might still have lost overall to Overwatch. People certainly seem to prefer it, even ones who have tried both seem to prefer Overwatch for the more colorful characters. But I think it would have done a lot better.
Well, at least Battleborn had Battleborn Day, where they got up to 700 concurrent players.
Yes, the very huge number of 700.
Battleborn Day, what a fuck up that was. And we never really talked about that.
Nope. The gist of it, though, was that the community got together to have this thing to try and encourage the player base to swell back up again. And the developers supported it, and did a whole bunch of promotion for it, but they didn't have like a free weekend for it.
There was I actually looked for a sale for this.
There wasn't a sale.
Yeah, I looked. There wasn't a sale. Everything was for the pre-existing community or lack thereof.
Yeah, so they really cocked that up.
I'm really thinking after Battleborn that the Borderlands series was a fluke.
Yeah.
There's no way that they can fuck up this royally and not have Borderlands just be a fluke.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going to call it out. Sorry for whatever kind of weird editing winds up here. I am currently under a severe weather warning, so we stopped to save our progress thus far and restarted. And
just to be safe.
Yeah.
Because
I don't
personally,
remember...
I don't want to do another 3 hours of talking about Skyrim.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, speaking of which, hang on. To right-click, delete local content, delete. There's 10 gigs back. Well,
okay. So
that's officially ending Skyrim for me.
So where do we go now?
Well, we still had the second part of this letter.
Okay.
Ingress and Pokemon Go. And I actually agree with him on this one that those two are more of a social experience than anything else. And probably part of the reason why both of us really don't care for them is that we live really where those games don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, even in Cleveland, which is a decent-sized town, there's like 100,000 people that live there. Once kind of the initial craze died down, you don't see people wandering around anymore. Like, maybe every once in a while, but nowhere near as frequently. So, plus, I'm not really into social stuff anyways. Like, I meet my social quota every week by doing the podcast and playing games with you guys. So, you know.
You're the type that would wear the shirt. You've read my t-shirt. Okay, that's enough social interaction for today.
Yeah, I would do that.
You should wear that to therapy. And just sit there.
I would. I need to get that shirt, but I would. I mean, I don't really have anything else to add to it. We've talked about both Pokemon Go and Ingress at length.
Yeah.
I mean, valid points, Ghost, valid points, but I don't really have anything to add to that discussion at this point.
Yeah, other than Pokemon Go is probably outside of my mother while she was still alive, the thing that's tried to get me to church the most.
Yeah.
Because out of, I think my town has 6 Pokestops across like a mile and a half. And I would say a good 2/3 of them are churches.
Yeah. The only Pokestop near where my house is a church. It's like 2 miles down the road. Excuse me.
I'm trying to.
Thanks. Okay. Well,
and blood sacrifice. What are we? The IO shield?
Oh, yes. We're very deadly. We demand our blood.
Okay, so question of the week.
Yep.
Question. Well, or should we give the email out first?
You usually do the email first, so go ahead.
Okay, if you wish to email us, you could email us over at vglpodcast@gmail.com with your letters, audio or otherwise. We will read or at least stumble through a text letter. We haven't had to do that in a while, actually.
Nope. Which is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind reading, but audio letters are easier.
Yeah, very easier. And also, well, I think it's kind of a kickback from having a good portion of the old Kerbalcast audience is that people are used to sending in audio letters.
Yeah. Still, though, if you're not from the Kerbalcast audience or if you're a new listener, feel free to do text, audio, whatever. You could make some kind of like...
Grand video video letters would be nice, but we're not a video podcast, so they're kind of wasting that.
You could make like a PowerPoint or something. Maybe we could include that in the show notes.
Don't challenge Kyle.
Kyle, make a PowerPoint. I want to see it happen at least once.
No, I'm afraid what Kyle will come up with.
I can't wait.
We'll end up with Groove sitting on our doorstep and a box of jambalaya with 15 pounds of uranium and a pizza sitting on top with the letter.
Is the pizza from Frank's or not Frank's?
Not Frank's.
Oh. That has become like a weird little inside joke here.
We have a lot of weird little inside jokes.
Well, yes, but...
Oh, you're talking about...
But that's an inside joke between Katie and myself, like... Because she thinks that's hilarious. I need to show her the picture. She hasn't seen the picture. But... Okay. So now to the question of the week.
Okay, the question of the week actually sparked quite a bit of discussion.
Okay.
It was from my vault of just general questions. What is the greatest flaw in your favorite game? And we both also answered this, by the way. Let's see, Groove, the Kraken, and KSP. Chemist, I'm not sure if I would, if I could call Brawlhalla my favorite game, but the server issues really put me off. Sucks to be killed by a rollback. Kyle, the camera control in Dark Souls. Get used to it, but still a bit frustrating, which Chemist answers, or replies to him, if only there was some Dark Souls inspired game with a better camera. Even a simple top-down view would work better. Million Lights. Probably a better game engine choice for KSP. Imagine KSP written in, insert intense discussion here, and boy, did he get it. Chemist replied, Unity is what made KSP so moddable. Any issues that were caused by it were by not upgrading to Unity 5 for a long time. Million Lights, but garbage collection lag spikes. Chemist, all engines have garbage collection. You either write your own in C++ or learn how to manage dynamic memory. KSP is weird that it has lots of data in a single scene that is loaded arbitrarily order that can't be reused. Then you chimed in with, well, you're since you're here, I'm making you do it.
I'm not looking at it. I don't remember what I said.
The dumbass leveling system in Oblivion.
Oh, yeah. Which I think I also said that was a
spoilers for next week.
Yeah.
And mine is the UI in Dwarf Fortress, which is an absolute mess and really needs to be reworked because moving the cursor is different keys depending on what menu you're on. Yep. Just to give you an idea. It's one of the few games that actually uses the arrow keys, and that's only occasionally. And other times there'll be WASD. Other times it's JKLMN.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really weird. And that's our question of the week. Okay. And our regular tweets were actually very light this week, mostly because our discussion was so much in the question of the week, which actually I really enjoyed. That was ended up being a good question.
Good question, Rich. Good question.
May have to go for another general question this week, unless we want to talk about No Man's Sky some more in the question of the week.
You're the question of the week guy. You decide.
Okay, Kyle. VGO community. Go see Arrival. It's the best movie I've seen in years. More than just a movie, this is a film. Kyle, I'm pretty sure most movies are distributed digitally these days to theaters.
I do really want to go see Rival, not Rival. It looks like a really, really interesting, genuinely good film.
And he also
that doesn't rely on like action and stuff. Yeah. It's a smart film, I think is the best way to describe it.
And let's see, and he said, also terminology aside, I'm glad my audio letter was so well received. Also, it looks like my cheeky little days are coming to a close. Oh, I'm sure you'll figure out a way.
I don't know. The back end of Podbean doesn't allow you to access the file until I put it live, unless you're an administrator, so.
Which you can give me an administrator's rights, right? Or
I
we're
should
going to be sharing
the
login. Because I need to start
share the login.
I need to start poking around the website.
Yeah, we'll share the login. I'll get you the information tomorrow, probably.
All right. And let's see, Groove on the No Man's Sky patch. I'm going to test that that dead horse. It'll have to be pretty good to convince me, though. And which I also commented that we're sending our space monkey, you, into space once again. Kyle, community, asking your soon-to-be fiance's father about marrying his daughter is stressful. Glad I won't have to do that again. And congratulations, Kyle. And I would make a snarky comment, but nah, I won't this time around.
Nah.
This time.
It's about time, dude. That's all I got to say.
Well, we're approaching 52 episodes. I have to miss it one time. And then Jim has everyone been listening to the Skyrim Book Club podcast, which I'm pretty sure you suggested, didn't you? Or was that an audio letter?
The Skyrim Book Club podcast? No.
That
was not me.
Or, no. It's I'm pretty sure Jim brought this up during one of our get-togethers that either you were away or this was when just a bunch of us were together. It's a book club where, it's a podcast where they're reading out different books out of Skyrim.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, some of it's interesting. I haven't listened to the podcast itself, but I have read some of the books. Well, I will say in Oblivion, not Skyrim, because Skyrim I was more than happy to delete.
Yeah.
But it's there's a lot of lore that is really hidden away in the books. And they're actually, I wouldn't say amazing, because they are all very short stories. And longer ones are spread out across, like volume 1 to 8.
Yeah. The weather is starting to get nasty outside. So
all right, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Yeah, quick exit.
Let's just do a quick exit.
Yeah, if you wish to tweet us at VGL Podcast, or once again, that email is vglpodcast@gmail.com. Do you want to promote anything?
Normally I would, but I think we should wrap it up. Katie says she's a little bit nervous, so
okay. I'm
gonna go ahead and head off.
All right. Just check out our channels, Gaming with Caffeine Rage, or on Twitter, Gaming with CR, and you?
Gaming Psychologist.
Or JMA4707.
Yep, on Twitter. And twitch.tv/jarthur4707 to watch me stream games. And I'm just gonna skip to the music part as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice. Bye-bye now.
See ya.
Bye-bye.